Yo.
Yes. So I mean, yeah, we were having a little football talk before he came in. We'll talk about that stuff later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so welcome to the Mack and Black podcast. That's Mac. I'm El Oso Negro. As a matter of fact, I was just mentioning I do the Arch Rivals podcast Tuesdays and Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And
shout out to them, man. It's a good show. I enjoy listening to that.
And you know how in the beginning they gave us like these introductions and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, when you do my introduction, you will not use my real name. I am to be referred to as El Oso Negro, and that's it. I'm using my government name. I don't want the FBI to figure out what it is I'm doing on
the live
low.
stream.
Yeah, dude. Freaking clowns. I mean, I already clowned the government as is.
Yeah, I know.
The last thing I need them to know is like, oh, so is that his name for real?
Yeah,
because you all sound like
why I don't got my
Mo.
legal name on my Facebook, man. I jumped on that.
But I
wave
used
a
all
while.
my name change credits.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Won't let
I
me
did
change
too.
it.
You know what I had to put in first of all, Facebook, for a website that gives away everyone's information, is one of the main reasons why we have a huge problem in this country right now. You really aren't gonna let us change our name more than 3 times on the website. Like, come on, dude, fuck you.
Exactly.
But I had to put in a little special request to get my name, to get an extra one to put my name. It's just like, dude, come on, Facebook, don't take yourself so seriously. Hey guys,
I might need to put one in my damn self.
Yeah, no, you do. Hey guys, as we say every single week, do us a huge favor. Go to mackandblack.com. Rate us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Check out Local Level Podcast as well. It's a part of the PodRiver network. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But again, guys, go to mackandblack.com. Check us out on there, and then leave us some reviews on iTunes. We got a ton to get to, man.
We do. So right now, LSU's beating the absolute dog crap out of Alabama. It is 33-13. Joe Burrow has thrown 3 touchdowns and 252 yards. Alabama can't get out of its own way. And I know that right now, Nick Saban's in there having an absolute fit with Alabama. Well, here's the thing, though. This is not the same. This is not the Les Miles. Okay, so I like to listen to Wingo and Golick on my way into work. And I love listening to Marcus Spears because he went to LSU. And the one thing that he said, the difference between this LSU team and the Les Miles LSU teams was Les Miles' new defense never had a great offensive plan.
Right.
He was like, he had that Tecmo Bowl-like offense where it's just like run the ball up the middle.
Or maybe run a stretch once every 5 plays.
Yeah.
Like,
here's a post or here's an in route. You run the post. Some Madden nonsense.
Yeah, right.
And he was like, dude, the offense was stale and boring.
Yeah.
Here with this offense right now, dude, you got the potential number 1 pick in the draft in Joe Burrow that's out here on the road nonetheless, blazing Alabama. And the only touchdown that Alabama had scored was on a punt return, which we just saw, where a guy damn near had his head ripped off, and he still stayed on his feet in his return. So the defense is giving up no touchdowns whatsoever. And I think the reason why I think Saban's having a fit, you had 2 weeks to prepare, and this is how you come out to start the game?
Really, really slow start. First drive, they're in the red zone, and Tua is dropping back, and then he gets pressured, runs out towards the right, and there's not a guy within 4 or 5 feet of him, and he just drops the ball.
Yeah.
And then 2 drives later, they are getting ready to punt, and the punter just drops the ball himself.
Yeah.
So to me, man, I know you said, and we both know Saban's in there, having a conniption right now.
Oh, easily.
But at the same time, dude, you better start looking inwards, Saban, because this isn't the first time this team has come out to a really sluggish start. Like Alabama, for some reason, like if you look at all the talent that's come out of Alabama, how much success they've had. I mean, let's be honest, they've had a ton of success over the last 10 years. But when you look at the type of slow starts that they've gotten out to, they've still been able to win games as a result, even after coming out to slow starts. But this one's tough, 33-13. And then they gave the ball back to LSU with like 13 or 14 seconds left. Was it, Nick?
Yeah, and then they scored another touchdown.
Yeah, so that's not looking too good. And then Minnesota upset Penn State.
Penn State earlier today, and that's a big one because a lot of people felt that if Minnesota lost, then it would pretty much kill their chances of getting into the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they won, they could get a significant jump because a lot of people still don't buy Clemson.
Right.
Because Clemson technically hasn't really played okay, I know Florida State won today after they just fired Willie Taggart, and that's kind of...
Can I get your opinion on the whole Deion Sanders thing?
Okay, yes.
Because we need to talk about that eventually because to me, that's a recruiting type of head coaching move. But I don't know enough about Florida State to know if this is something that needs a new scheme, if they need just more motivation. You know how it is when it comes to college football teams, man. You could have the talent on the field, but just struggle really, really badly putting it together and be a bad team. So I'm wondering, what do you think about the noise that Deion Sanders is making right now currently of possibly putting his name in the running for the Florida State job?
I got mixed emotions. Yes, I like the name of it.
Yeah.
But can Deion Sanders coach?
Right.
That's the problem. Before, right. Man. He's never done it before. And in this age where we keep trying to bring in these, I'm all against not bringing in recycled coaches.
Right.
I did bring up Urban Meyer. A lot of people shot that down because
Florida
of the
State
fact,
people?
Well, a lot of my friends, because a lot of people think that Urban Meyer is waiting for the SC job to open up. Some people think that he might take the Notre Dame job if Brian Kelly gets bought out and fired. So maybe Florida State is kind of the outside looking in. I brought his name up. I'm not sure what Florida State is really going to do.
Right.
When I heard Deion Sanders, I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's prime time and this and that. We're talking about one of the best guys who'll help fix this defense that, today kind of played well, but the offense really played better. Mm-hmm. Because the problem I had with Willie Taggart was his style of offense didn't fit what Florida State was trying to do. Mm-hmm. Cam Akers, in my opinion, is not a shotgun read option type of running back. He's a fullback in front. Give me the hole so I can hit the hole type of running back.
Right.
James Blackman is not a read option quarterback. So I think Florida State just had enough because last year they went 5-7. Then you at home get embarrassed by your rival, and there's no signs of improvement from the team.
Right.
So I thought that the firing was kind of just, but I think other names are going to emerge. I don't know if Deion is really going to win it, but at the same time, I don't want to say I'm on the fence. I don't want to say that I'm necessarily against it, but at the same time, I'm not all the way necessarily for the move.
I do think, here's the thing, man. Coaching in a certain way, you can have two really good coordinators and get away with just being a good motivator. We've seen coaches with a lot of experience who aren't necessarily tactical geniuses, right? They just go in and know how to command a locker room, understand how to make sure to hold everybody accountable.
Right.
And you have two really good coordinators and good coaching staff that can really, build the game plan and actually help execute. To me, man, Deion Sanders is a really good a name to hear if you're a kid in Florida.
True.
And you're hearing that you got some scouts at the game, and oh, by the way, Deion might show up. So man, that's a nice little recruiting tactic, I will say. But also, it also shows that right now the coaching, it's a little thin.
Right.
There's you're gonna have to wait a little bit further into the season to start to see a little bit more.
Which is why Florida State should be in no rush.
Right. And at this point, they've got an interim coach at this point, right?
Yeah.
So
the same guy that took over for when Jim Official left to go to A&M.
Oh,
I think
okay.
It's the same guy this year.
Okay.
And you could tell the way they beat BC because if Willie Taggart was in there, we'd have lost that game.
Oh wow.
We
okay.
lost today.
So already,
I'm convinced.
Paying dividends. That
before we get into more stories, I had a funny story. So.
Mm-hmm.
This past Thursday, I went to go see a doctor, and I haven't been into a doctor's office for a solid, I don't know, it's been about 1.5 years, 2 years, right? So I have to go in, get my health check, get my blood sugar check and everything, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I go in there and fill out paperwork. I'm talking to, the male nurse or whatever he's called. The nurse. And, he's asking me all these random questions, blah, 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 this and that. Yeah, sure, no, maybe, blah, 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 right? So then he's like, okay, the doctor will come in and talk to you. So I'm like, all right, cool. Bro, why did my heart stop the minute this doctor walked into the room? For an older lady, this lady was kind of hot.
Oh, man.
I'm dead serious. And obviously she's of Middle Eastern descent, right?
Oh.
So the whole time, I'm sitting on this, the bed or whatever it's called. Yeah. And I'm looking at this lady and I'm just like, God bless, this woman is smoking hot.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at her hand, right? I see no ring. And I'm thinking, something ain't right here. Am I missing something here? There's no way this smoking hot lady is any way.
She's a doctor. She's probably busy, man.
Man, I'm telling you, this lady has to be. So I'm 36.
Yeah. So
this lady has to be at least a solid. I would say she's old. She had to be older than me. Okay. So I would say maybe like 41.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 42. I can works with that.
True.
Okay,
True.
I can works with that.
Thanks.
But I'm just saying, she was hot. So then, she goes to check my ears, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe taking my temperature through the ear. I don't know what she was doing. She asked me. She says, "Are you nervous?"
Oh.
And I was like, in my head, I was like, well, yeah, because I feel like I'm finna shoot my shot right quick. Holy shit, yeah, right. Yeah, dude, I'm like, I might be a little nervous because I don't know what I'm finna do right now.
Right.
I
might do something crazy.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. But then, when
might risk it all. That's my favorite.
Bro, I swear, I was about to throw a Hail Mary at this point. And it was only my first freaking visit.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, there's 3 doctors at this office, okay? Mm-hmm. And I kind of was looking to talk to
Alabama just got the ball to start the third quarter. They just turned over the Tigers.
Yeah, so LSU, you don't want to do none of that nonsense.
Still 33-13.
So I'm in there, right? So I'm in there, and there's 3 doctors, but the one I wanted to see wasn't available, so I just took her, and I was like, whatever, I'm just trying to see a doctor.
Yeah.
This might have been the greatest blessing from God, and I cannot fumble this football.
I might get sick every week from now on.
Man, dude. And I have to see her again on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
I have to because apparently my blood pressure's a little high, whatever. So she was like, I want you to go to those Walgreens that's got the little thing so I can check my blood pressure and I can give her readings. Yes, I'll do the homework. Yes, I'll be there on Thursday. And yes,
I'll show up fresh. Now I know.
I swear to God, I'm finna put on my best cologne.
Yeah.
About to come in that bitch. G'd. I got my hair cut. As you can see, I went bald. Yes.
We'll be ready.
This is going to happen. I have a great feeling about this. But what I did want to do, because I know that some of the people that are watching the show are in this group that's very basketball heavy. So before we get into UFC, I wanted to get into the NBA for a minute because so as I mentioned last week, I'm in a fantasy basketball.
Yes, sir. Me too.
I am already fielding inbox messages about LeBron James in the second flipping week of the season.
Oh, my goodness.
I am not trading the soon-to-be MVP
oh, my goodness.
in no instance until the All-Star game. Yeah. Now, if I'm out of it by the All-Star game, I'll be more than happy to concede, and I'll take a deal that was not detrimental to the league, but that will help you out in the end. I am not trading LeBron James. So because I have the MVP on my squad, I've been watching a lot of Laker games as of late. I'm going to tell you what. I don't think I have seen LeBron James in a more comfortable state in his NBA career than I have in this stint with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Even as loose as he was with the Heat, he's right now at his peak. For sure.
Clint Paul's telling me good call on the other night with the Rangers. Yeah, that's because this guy that's in the group, I guess, bets money, and he was looking for NHL NHL picks.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I need my hockey experts to tell me who to pick.
Nice.
3 guys who usually, like I was going to, but I stepped out of it, said that the Hurricanes would beat the Rangers because the Rangers was playing on the back-to-back, and they just whooped the Red Wings. And I was like, so all y'all really think that the Rangers can't go into Carolina and beat them? And they're like, oh, nah, like Clint was saying that the
Carolina's
Rangers would
not
get
that far.
right. He was saying that they would get the lead and give it up. And I was like, that's something the Rangers normally could do, but I don't think it's going to happen on this night. And for what it's worth, dude, Henrik Lundqvist looked good not only in the game against Detroit, because Detroit's on the rebuild. I won't say they suck yet, but they're definitely on the rebuild.
For sure.
To Carolina, and in a back-to-back of Henrik Lundqvist in this state of his career, when he goes out and sees 47 shots like he did on, I think it was Wednesday night, I want to say, or Thursday night, they usually do lose.
Yeah.
But Henrik Lundqvist looked like the Henrik Lundqvist of the team that went to the Stanley Cup that night. So, yes, I saw that coming a mile away. But back to LeBron James.
Yeah.
I'm watching him play the other night against the Heat. And it just seems like there's a new aura of the Los Angeles Lakers. Because, okay, so last year you had, and this is what my whole point about LeBron James in his entire career. Okay. The one thing I've said about LeBron James as his career went on from Miami until where we're at now is LeBron James has no patience to develop anybody.
Right.
He left Cleveland because for 2 years, LeBron James cried for help.
Yeah.
Amari Stoudemire was there for the taking. Dan Gilbert gave him Antoine Jameson, which at the time was not near the talent level of Amari Stoudemire.
No.
Okay? So you don't give him Amari Stoudemire, you give him Antoine Jameson, and then he leaves to Miami, where you're playing with an all-star in Chris Bosh, you're playing with an already developed all-star in Dwayne Wade, and then you get a good enough bench along with Eric Spoelstra, who I still think is one of the most underrated coaches in all of the NBA. And LeBron James went out there and had fun those few years. Yes, he took some L's. They lost to Dallas, which in a series they probably should have never lost.
Yeah.
You know, they lose big against San Antonio. But he had some W's, and he got a taste of what it's like to be a champion.
Yeah.
So when he comes back to Cleveland, what ends up happening? They win the lottery, which we'll get into in a minute. They win the lottery. They get Andrew Wiggins. And then LeBron James lobbies to trade Andrew Wiggins for a developed Kevin Love.
Right.
So then they finally win a title after beating Golden State, finally.
Right.
And then, they lose to a KD because LeBron James, the best player in the world, didn't want to go against the best pure scorer in the world in Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So,
I still don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Yeah, let me go guard Klay Thompson when freaking Kevin Durant is just
scorching us.
Scorching hot.
Yeah.
And why would I at 6'9" not want to go up against a guy that's 6'9"? Doesn't make sense. But anyway, so LeBron James does that. So then let's go where he leaves Cleveland to go to LA. Well, let's look at the LA team. Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Josh Hart. Young guys.
Even Zubac. Remember, they had Zubac, and they just traded him for no reason. They just traded him to the Clippers.
Yes.
For Muscala. And then Muscala walked over the offseason, and then it's so funny, the first game that they play is the Clippers, and they're starting Zubac against the Lakers.
Yes. So then, so they trade all that away.
Yeah.
Now you bring in JaVale McGee, veteran, AD, NBA All-Star. LeBron James speaks for himself. And then, you bring in an Avery Bradley, who's a veteran on those good Celtics teams. You bring in a KCP, who's starting to play better because in the beginning of the season, he
wasn't shooting well. Yeah, he wasn't
oh, my
shooting
God,
well
he was
at all.
shooting horribly.
Yeah.
And when I saw LeBron James doing what he was doing against the Heat, and then I saw because I watched that Clippers game, and then, I watched a few other games, and I'm like, man, LeBron James out here seems to be having that Miami Heat fun again.
Right.
Why? Because LeBron James, when he's out there, is worried about one person, LeBron James.
Sure.
He doesn't have to tell Andrew or Lonzo Ball to be over here, and he doesn't need Brandon Ingram to put him over here, and he doesn't need Kyle Kuzma to push his dumb ass to play defense over there, and he doesn't do. LeBron James goes up the floor. He knows that this is where AD is. This is where KCP is. This is where Danny Green is, another good one.
Right.
This is where JaVale McGee is. And if I give these guys the ball, they know exactly what to do with it without me having to tell. And that is
credit Frank Vogel too for
who's been doing a great
really
job.
Good job. Yeah.
Yes. So that's my thing with what I've been seeing with LeBron James. And now look what's happening. The man is dropping triple doubles left and right. And again, it's because he's loose. Because people were saying, well, I don't like LeBron James. I think it was Magic Johnson said he didn't like LeBron James trying to be the point guard of the team. Yeah. But after the way LeBron was taking,
I mean, honestly, he's done his whole career. From day one in Cleveland, he wanted the ball in his hand and he wanted to be the guy that distributes. So Magic, I think Magic though, it was saying that in a good place, but I just don't think I think what he wanted was he wanted LeBron to be sort of this free safety, being able to go wherever he wanted, and LeBron's not that guy.
No, he's not.
He's methodical. He wants to get to where he wants to get to. He wants his other guys to know where they're supposed to be, and that's why I said credit to Frank Vogel because he's done a tremendous job with these guys. This is a makeshift team. They just put this team together like six months ago, barely. So when it comes down to it, LeBron is in a very good position, and I got a good exposure to him in that Bulls game. I saw most of the game.
Oh, that was another one. Yeah,
that Bulls game, though, where the Bulls are beating the Lakers for 3 quarters. Really, really good job by the Bulls. They don't understand how to close games quite yet. And it was very obvious that they were going to give up that lead after about the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Right.
And then LeBron, I think what he's done better this season than any other season I've seen is taking what the defense gives him.
Yep.
I think, so much, especially with the Heat teams, it was just like, let me impose my will. I don't care if you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I think now more than ever, LeBron's like, man, I've got this great team around me. I still think they need shooting. I really do. I think Danny Green's good, but I still think they need shooting. Yep. They can handle that later. But I think he understands the team he has around him is good right now, and he feels trust in this situation. Yep. And I feel like bringing in AD really gave him this calmness to his game to understand that he always has AD there to sort of pick up for him if he needs it.
Right.
And let's be honest, he's never played with the big like AD.
Right.
Bosh. For everything Bosh did really well, he was never close to what AD is.
Right.
Especially in just the range of his game.
Right.
AD's so good on every single, aspect of his game. And I think LeBron just feels a comfort level with him that's uncanny right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. As we're still watching the LSU game, dude, Joe Burrow was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
He
should have been sacked right there, and he somehow got out of it.
Free man, not even the unblocked, completely unblocked.
I've been watching a few teams here and there. The Bulls are one of them because the Knicks are in town on Tuesday, and through hell and high water, I will be at the UC to watch that.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm watching the Knicks game yesterday, and they're taking on Dallas, and of course, for like a quarter and a half, KP this, KP that, what happened, this and that, and then they're giving like KP like 3 solid minutes of an interview on what happened leading up to him being traded, and he swear. That was the 3 words that came out of my mouth. Let it go. He's not on the Knicks anymore. I don't care. This is what I know. What I know is that I bet you any money in the world the New York Brass went up to KP because KP and Phil Jackson had about the worst falling out that you could think of because Phil Jackson wanted to have some stupid-ass meeting about the triangle and how it works, and KP's like, I'm not going to this meeting for what?
Yeah.
Like, what? How does this benefit me? So he didn't go. And Phil Jackson got pissed and was talking about trading him because he missed the meeting. So James Dolan doing something the smartest thing, which is very rare for me to say when it comes to of James Dolan, what he said was that, okay, I'm going to get rid of Phil Jackson because he's damning the relationships, and you already talk smack about LeBron James' posse, which I still think to this day was very blown out of proportion and whatnot. But at the same time, you're damning the Knicks right now. So you get rid of him. So then you bring in Scott Perry and Steve Mills, and then you try and develop this relationship with KP because, he tears the ACL.
Right.
You want to keep him. He's a part of the rebuild.
He set the league on fire, Nick.
He set the league on fire. And somewhere out of all of this, KP said, I don't want to be here anymore. He felt, I don't know if he felt disrespected or he felt like the Knicks weren't trying.
Yeah.
And I get what he's saying, but dude, you're not even playing. You're our star.
Right.
And right now, all this hype is going around trying to get Zion Williamson at the case. Well, KP didn't want to be a part of that. So then let me make sure I got this straight. You don't want to be a part of that. You're willing to get traded. They trade you to Dallas, who's doing the same damn thing the Knicks are doing. Okay? So then we trade you there, and then you sign a max deal, and now all of a sudden you're coming out saying, well, there may not be true to the facts. No, dude, you didn't want to be there because if you did, the Knicks would have had no reason to trade you when they wanted to give you a max contract. Okay? So then what does Kristaps Porzingis do yesterday? The same exact thing he had been doing with the Knicks, and I'm glad that he didn't do it to us. Have a great game, get into foul trouble, and when I need you the most, fouls out. Fouls out with 3 minutes left. So what does Luka Doncic do yesterday when they're down by 3? Because God forbid the Knicks get free throws. Takes a step back 3 by damn near where the logos is on the floor.
Yeah.
Since when did you think that was a great shot? And I was like, this is kind of why, as much as I love Porzingis and I love everything he did, there's a small piece of me that's like, maybe the Knicks saw what we saw because he did the same mess last night and the Knicks end up winning that game. And here's why I'm proud of what they did, because the Knicks had the same problem that you just mentioned with the Bulls. In at least 4 games that the New York Knicks have played, they have blown lead.
Yeah.
They did it against San Antonio. They did it against Boston in Boston.
And Boston in New York. Or no, Boston in New York.
The game in New York, they had a lead at halftime, and then they just played like crap in the second half.
Yeah.
They blew a lead against, who did they? They blew another lead, too. I can't think of who. But in some of those games, they played hard, but they blew leads.
Right.
But somewhere where people are not going to give credit is to Marcus Morris. Because yesterday, Marcus Morris and Frank Ntilikina are both sitting on the floor. Frank Ntilikina had 1 foot out of the door of being traded to New York, out of New York. But nobody wanted him. So what did he do? Worked on his game. Marcus Morris is starting to work with him. Dude, Frank is this close from really being the starting point guard of the Knicks.
He looks good, man. He looks good now.
Really good. His 3-point shot, his money.
His defense has always been there. It's always been there.
It's always been there. But now you're starting to get that 3-point shot. And we don't need Frank Ntilikina to score 30 points a game.
No, yeah.
But manage the game.
Right.
And play the same defense.
His ball handling looks a lot better, too. I think that was something that was a big crutch on his game was he was relatively new to the game when he got drafted.
Right.
So his handling wasn't always there.
Right.
I think sometimes he struggled to make the next move to get himself free.
Right.
And didn't have that handle. And it seemed like he does now. It seems like he's got a better idea of where he wants to go on the floor.
Right.
And he's making better decisions. And, the Knicks and the Bulls are in really similar situations right now.
Very similar.
Just really playing well, hard fought team, well coached, hard coached, but just can never really close it down in the fourth quarter. And it's something that you develop, right?
Yeah.
That's something in this league you develop. That's not something in this league that you just have.
And Tim Hardaway Jr. still broke.
I forgot he's on Dallas now.
Yeah,
too,
I forgot he was there too. He's still flipping broke. He hit a couple of clutch threes, but it was too late.
Right.
Like when you really need him to make those threes, I'm glad he's doing that in Dallas, and he's not doing it in New York anymore. Like RJ Barrett had maybe the worst game of the season yesterday, but the Knicks still were able to win. Wow. And I feel like they can build because they got Cleveland tomorrow, and then you got the Bulls on Tuesday. So I think these are winnable games, and I want to give credit to Taj Gibson, who's kind of was being that I don't want to say vocal leader, but he was kind of being that
veteran
leadership on the floor, because at one point in the game he noticed that that Julius Randle had a one-on-one matchup, and he kept yelling at everybody to get on the other side of the floor. They told Julius do his thing, and it was a huge bucket because at that point it put the Knicks up by 7, which kind of made Dallas call their last timeout. So I like that too. So I'm hoping that they build on this win. Again, I'm not asking the Knicks to win a championship. I'm just asking them to try to win games and play hard. And outside of maybe 2 or 3 games, the Knicks have been doing that.
Yeah, and before we jump too far from NBA too, I want to jump back to LeBron really quick.
Sure.
LeBron spends almost $1 million a year on recovery.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is very, 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 very conscious about what he does, what he eats, how he rehabs, how he recovers, and a dude who when you have that type of money, not to say that other players don't have these types of resources, but LeBron has done the best of any athlete I've ever seen leverage his status to become a better player,
right,
and to remain a better player, right? I think that was a huge thing, right? Like it was like the famous thing was like Mike was in the casino with the cigar and the whiskey and everything like that the week before the finals, and then his idea of training camp was to smoke cigar. Like his idea of like rehab was like a bucket of ice cream and a cigar or something. Like those days are gone now. The players have to understand now that your livelihood is the most important thing. And your health is a part of your livelihood. So LeBron, man, shout out to him, dude. What he's said it before, and I think he said it yesterday again, where he's like, I want to play till I'm 45. And people, listen, keep playing with him. Keep playing with him.
Yeah.
The way that he's going right now. Let's not forget he's not a spring chicken right now.
Right.
He's been in the league for a hot minute right now. Been playing basketball at a high level for a hot minute right now. So LeBron, dude, I know it sounds crazy when he says I'm going to play till I'm 45, but keep playing with him. See what he does.
Clint says the Lakers have a new aura around them for sure, but I'll be damned if I ever listen to LeBron James talk about someone else on load management. Oh, I think that's referring to Kawhi.
He talks. Yeah. Well, here's another thing though. LeBron does have a point. LeBron's load manages when he's hurt. Let's not forget that LeBron is one of the most durable players. When he's healthy, he's on the floor.
Right.
So I think a lot of LeBron's load management, though, has come from injuries. That's his point about it, right? And I think the big thing with Kawhi is the load management isn't about an injury right now.
Right.
It's about Kawhi really making sure that he understands, because the foot injury that happened to Kawhi during the playoffs against Golden State, it changed his career. Right. And it changed his mindset, and it turns out for the better, right? You won a championship in Toronto last year, and now you have a chance, with one of the best teams in the league to do it again. And let's not forget, they put this team together for a dynasty.
Right.
They put this team together so they could do this for 4, 5, 6 years. And as much as I hate load management,
right,
I understand it.
Right.
And I understand where Doc Rivers is coming from. I also understand where the NBA is coming from. The NBA fined Doc Rivers because he was inconsistent about the way he talked about the injury, and the team was saying one thing and Doc was saying another thing, the doctors were saying another thing, Kawhi was saying another thing. So I understand it. I just think people need to also understand that load management, if you're going to the game that day, it sucks.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. You went to go see Kawhi and Kawhi's not going to be playing. It sucks. But there's bigger fish to fry in the grand scheme of things right now than the first month and a half of the NBA season.
Right now we are watching.
Oh, when he dropped it.
Alabama is still losing 33-13. We just saw Mac Jones, the backup quarterback to Tua, warming up. So I don't know. I don't know if Nick Saban is tired of looking at Tua right now,
or if Judy looks hurt too.
Or if
right
he,
now.
if I don't know if he's hurt or whatnot. But we'll keep an eye on that. Clint asks, what do you make of the Penn State loss? Is PSU overrated or Minnesota underrated? I think it's Minnesota being underrated. Like, they're they're that hot team. Like, I always like Penn State. Mm-hmm. And I like Penn State because I think James Franklin has really done a great job with Penn State over the years. I thought a few years ago they kind of got jobbed out of the net or being in the playoff, which I want to bring up. Being out of the playoff when, for whatever reason, Ohio State was the number 2 team in the country.
Right. Yeah.
But didn't even play in the Big Ten title game. Penn State won that, and Penn State got jobbed while a team that Penn State beat is now in the playoff.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And, I think Penn State's a good team. So them being the number 5 team, I think it was warranted. But I just think on the road against a hot Minnesota team, I think Penn State got caught flat-footed, and Minnesota, I don't want to say it has nothing to lose. I think they had more or less everything to gain. By winning a game like this, puts them now in what could be a favorable matchup if Ohio State ends up running the table. Because let me say this about Ohio State. For everyone that says Clemson hasn't played anybody and Alabama hasn't played anybody, and I know Penn State has played a few reputable teams, but who has Ohio State really played?
Right, yeah.
They've blown everybody out. Like today they blew out Maryland. Maryland is not good.
And everyone was playing up this game as like, ooh, Maryland. It's finally the first juicy matchup. It's like, listen, man.
No, it's not.
Maryland is not a juicy matchup.
No, it's not. Not at all. Just because Maryland can hang in there with Rutgers does not make it a juicy matchup.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so against why Ohio State is the number 1 team in the country and not LSU.
Right.
Because you could say what you want about the SEC. You could tell me it's overrated. You could tell me it's this and that. LSU has went out and smacked everyone in the mouth. And at the time, they beat a very high-ranked Texas team who I think was in the top 10. What top 10 team has Ohio State played?
Yeah.
So there shouldn't really be any Ohio State fans that should be up here like, well, Clemson shouldn't be in the top 6 because they haven't played anybody, nor have you.
Yeah.
Okay? So I I know Ohio State still has to play Michigan, which they usually always beat, and they still have to play Penn State, if I'm not mistaken. They still have to play one another. Mm-hmm. And I think that Penn State matchup is going to be really hard. But if LSU ends up winning this game here against Alabama, there's no way in hell
you got to be number 1.
There's no
even
way.
After a performance like the 72-14 game that was the Maryland Ohio State game. Yeah, and Alabama right now looks a little bit lost as third down here with about and they convert on the third down, long third down, and about 6 minutes left in that game, guys. So we'll probably end up watching that through its finality.
Clint Paul says, God, thank you for that Ohio State thought they've played nobody. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you played, oh my God, I think they beat the mess. I think they played Northwestern, and they played Youngstown State.
Northwestern sucks
and they
this year.
played a whole bunch of other Big Ten teams that are the lower echelon.
Yeah.
And whooped the brakes off of them.
Yeah.
And then you got Ohio State fans talking about, oh yeah, we won 52-3. Yeah. Okay, you're really bragging about that? You think you're the number 1 team? No, you're not. You're 2-3 at best. You're not the number 1 team in the country. But kudos. But now here goes the Clemson fans. They're finna be like, well, hell yeah, Penn State lost. Let us get that number 4 because we're still undefeated, and they have a legit argument. Mm-hmm. So now that goes into my thought about the playoff. Mm. Somebody in the World of Sports group, because I think that's where I saw it, had put up a 16-team playoff on how this can work. Me personally, I think it needs to be at 8.
16 team play, meaning an expansion of the current playoffs.
The current playoffs. So instead of it to be in the 4, you expand it to the 16. Huh. I don't like that. That's too many for football. Many teams, yeah. I would do 8. Yeah. You have the Power 5 conferences, those champions, and 3 at large. Because here's the problem I have. first, we cried the blues about the whole BCS because, and I liked the BCS, and I didn't have too much of a problem. There were a couple times where I didn't like certain
For the
things.
most part, though, they were right on.
They were right on.
Yeah.
When you had Paul Finnebum of ESPN
that dope.
crying the blues in 2013 when Auburn lost to Alabama, and when they asked him, well, who should be playing Florida State in the national championship game, and this idiot really said Alabama, you lost to an undefeated Auburn team.
Right.
You're not in the national championship.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah, and that was the format of the game at that time, too. So it's like, if you lose a game, like, people don't understand now with the new system that if you lose a game, you're still in it.
Right.
Back in the day, if you lost a game, you were out of it.
You're out
of it. That's it.
Right.
You can't say anything about, I'm going to, maybe there. I will say there have been times where the two best teams in the country meet before the national championship, and one of them loses,
right,
and one of them doesn't get a fair shot at it. But again, that goes back to the really huge importance of not losing a game during the regular season. So now we've changed the format. I think we need to go deeper. I think we need to change the scheduling system, Nick. To allow teams to still have this sort of open dialogue and work with each other about who, I'm going to pay you to let us come and beat you in your stadium. That, to me, that's grimy. We need to have a little bit more of an overarching system. I get it. There's a lot of teams. I get that. There's a lot of teams. But we have, we're making more money as Alabama just scores a touchdown here. It looks like they're going to come a little bit closer to 33-20 after an extra point if Alabama can convert. But yeah, I just think that, I get it. There's a lot of teams, but we're making a lot of money now. There's a lot of TV money to be made. I like the fact that if we do an 8-team playoff, we can make every single game a bowl game, essentially. And you can still make the money that you made, and we can find a way to work the schedule in. If we have to start a week earlier, I'm not really opposed to that.
I'm not either.
I don't think that that's a huge deal because we already get enough bye week. Some teams get multiple bye weeks.
Yep.
That's another thing in college football is like, these players, I wouldn't say well rested, but first of all, there's no limit on, you got 90 players per roster sometimes. So to me, man, I think we need to start to take the next step with college football if you want to legitimize this thing. And this also goes back to what we keep going back and forth about the video game. Mm-hmm. The fact that we're even this close now, Nick,
right,
where the NCAA has almost sort of thrown up the white flag and said, okay, we'll let players start to make their money off of their own likeness. But there's a bigger, I'm sort of a conspiracy theorist myself, and I always say that when you have a giant superpower like this saying, sure, do this, go right ahead, I'm always a little skeptical, right? You're leading me into the bear trap, right?
Right.
So I do have a feeling that the NCAA is doing that in a way by saying, fine, we can make money off the likeness, but hands off of this. And I think the one thing that they're really hands off of right now is the current scheduling system and the way that they divvy up the money with the TV and the scheduling and everything like that, and especially the bowl season.
This is what I'm saying. If college basketball in the first week can have the top 4 teams facing one another.
Yeah. Why can't we have that?
Why is Ohio State taking on Youngstown State when they know good goddamn well this team's not winning?
Right.
Because it's like one of those, think about it. It's like Appalachian State taking on Michigan.
Right.
A few, many years back when they upset them. The way you look at the game is, okay, we played Appalachian State $3 million to come and play us because we need to fill
in our stadium.
But then they beat us. Okay, that's like the rare time. But I'm saying at this time, like you said, where every game matters and everything makes sense, if I'm trying to impress the committee, playing Youngstown State, and I keep picking on them because I don't know why it's the first Division III.
That's pretty, that's kind of crazy.
Well,
just because they're a local team.
UL Lafayette, UL Monroe, all these D2 schools. Like, look at the SEC. All SEC teams, the week before what's considered rivalry week, play some school they know good goddamn well they have no business losing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How is that impressive?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I think I've been thinking about this for a long time about what they need to do because I think 4 teams is not enough. And I thought 8 teams make sense because why is a team from the Pac-12, it's a Power 5 conference, not really considered in the because think about it, the only 2 Pac-12 teams that have been in the playoffs since it started, if I'm not mistaken, is Oregon and Washington. They're the only 2 that somehow was able to make it. You have some of these other teams that are in the Power 5 conferences in the Big 12's been in it, but at least for as far as I'm concerned, the Pac-12, they're like, wait a minute, why not us?
Right. And scheduling has a lot to do with that too, because the Pac-12 plays late in the night a lot of times, and you'd miss a lot of these teams. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Scheduling is such a huge part of what college football is, because even at the end of the season, remember during the BCS when there was the last 2 weeks of the season and the BCS was really going to buckle down and make sure to find out who the 2 teams were, and a lot of it was on strength of schedule, and how easy your schedule was. Well, man, their schedule was way too easy, but their schedule, it was down to the wire with a couple of games. You know, it used to be that even if you lost, but you lost to a really tough team, okay, you get credit for that. But if you lose to a shit team, oh man, you're done. You're completely done. So let's add a little bit more mathematics to it. I don't think it has to be this. I don't even want to say inconsistent, because that might not be fair. But I just think that there's a better way to do this right now.
I think so too, because Clint says ACC and SEC both play 8-game conference schedules. The Big 10, Big 12, and Pac-12 played 9-game schedules. I think that
they played that extra game, but also, and is that including, or is that including the championship game, the conference championship game, or not including? Yeah, that's what I would wonder. But
he's listening, so I think
let us know if that's including the conference or the conference championship.
But yeah,
game
dude, no, I think it needs to be Power 5 conferences. That's automatic. And then the committee can talk about what 3 at-large teams can come in.
Sure.
And I've been crying about this ever since Penn State got gypped, because there's no way you can tell me that Ohio State is a better team than Penn State when Penn State beat Ohio State and won the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And that's where Ohio State gets that Alabama bias, because remember the year where LSU beat Alabama, but Alabama still played for the national championship to beat LSU again, or play LSU and beat them this time? How sway when LSU won the SEC?
Right, yeah. I mean, it would also eliminate the whole UCF thing, where it was like, well, we're undefeated. And It's like, yeah, okay, fine. Then you know what? You'll be one of the 3 at-large teams, and good luck. Because, you know, I do trust me, I understand the fact that that there's levels to this shit, and that, you know, not all college football is created equal. And that's why we've seen over the last couple of years that, you know, when some of these really, really good mid-conference teams get into a scrap with middle of the level really good conference teams, they tend to lose, because, you know, your conference being strong has a lot to do with how good you are.
Phil said it's not included.
Not including. Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, if we're doing the math on it, if we're saying we're playing 10 games in a 13 or 14 week season in some cases, you can squeeze another game in there. If you don't want to squeeze another game in there, fuck it. The regular season is inconsistent enough. We'll shorten that regular season if we have to.
Right.
We'll make it one less regular season game, and we'll take one of those cupcake Youngstown State games out of there and let you play a really rough schedule where it's like every week you got to be ready to play, because if you lose today, you might be out of it.
Yeah.
And then adding a little bit more to the bowl season. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, dude. Clint said earlier that Georgia, even with the South Carolina loss, should jump in now. They're the number 6 team in the country.
That's pretty crazy to think about.
They play Auburn next week, so that would actually look good on a resume. If on the road they can go to Auburn and beat Auburn. I agree with that.
And where do you place Alabama now after this? Because if they lose this game, Then you've got Clemson waiting in the wings. You've got Georgia waiting in the wings. And then you're also looking like, okay, well, if you respect LSU as a really good team, we're not going to penalize Alabama too much, right? So, there's a lot of decisions to be made. And that's another thing is like this ranking system too. By the way, it's been better over the last few years, but I still think the ranking system needs a little bit of work. I still think we need a little bit more science to this. Like what makes you the best team in the country?
Right.
I think we still need to determine that. I think there's a million different answers to what you consider to be the best team in the country. Because a lot of people say, well, to me, it's point differential. If you're beating your opponents by 70 points, you're the best. Well, I mean, okay, but if you're playing Youngstown State, then you're gonna have those games. So we've got to have a little bit more of an exact science.
I feel bad for Youngstown State because they're right now just getting
they're getting pounded by us right now. I'm sorry,
they're getting burnt by this show. But yeah, no, I feel the same way. And Phil says Alabama hasn't played a true non-conference road game since around 2010. That's facts because every time they play these out-of-conference games, it's at a neutral site.
Oh, my goodness. Sorry, that was a one-handed nasty catch on the sideline as Alabama is rolling back right now. They're in I believe they're
definitely in LSU
territory. They're in LSU territory right now. And it wasn't too one-handed, sorry, but it was a still nice catch on the sideline. Alabama's storming back right now. They're only down 2 scores.
Yeah, that was a nice catch.
Hey, guys, by the way, while we're transitioning here, do us a huge favor. Go to mackandblack.com. Check us out. You can actually watch a podcast on that. You can check out our YouTube on that. Also, check out our network, PodRiver Network, guys. We're doing big things on this with Mack and Black, obviously, but Boss to Boss is on it right now. And I say every single week how much I like Boss to Boss. So check out Boss to Boss and with Miro. And also locallevelShow.com is the new show. It's every Friday. It's a part of just a little bit more of a local focus, small business focused type feel podcast. Really interesting, cool guests. So check it out, guys. And then again, just check us out on iTunes. Review us on iTunes, guys. Do us a huge favor. And by the way, next week, Nick, we're going to be at, what do they call it? On location.
That's right.
We're going to be on location at Reps over in Rolling Meadows again. You guys remember the first time we did it? It was an amazing show. I was really excited for that. And now, guys, we're going to start to be doing it every single week. So next Saturday, guys, next Saturday's show is going to be live at Reps. What's the address for the fine folks again? Since I forget it, Nick.
Say it again.
What's the address to Reps over in Rolling Meadows for the folks?
3200 Kirchhoff in Rolling Meadows.
3200 Kirchhoff in Rolling Meadows. Guys, check us out at Reps next week. Come by, have a beer. There's, like I said, there's great food there. Man, that burger that I had there, that was amazing. We had some wings over there. Good food, good drinks, good times.
Phil says all conference should be 9-game conference schedules. The non-conference schedule must be versus 1A schools, 2 home, 1 away. I'm not against that, dude.
But let's just make it a consistent across the board, and let's move on. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're playing more games than me, no matter what you say, it's a little bit unfair, okay? Right. You're playing more games than me, and if I'm a team that's played 1 extra game, I'm pissed. I don't care if it's against Youngstown State.
Right.
I'm like, hey, why am I playing 1 extra game and these fools are sitting around for 2 weeks?
Right. No, I'm with you on that, dude. I'm with you, and I don't know, dude. Something's got to happen because I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited. Like at first, I didn't know how I felt about this whole playoff thing. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I guess we'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't really been too bad outside of the Ohio State debacle.
Right.
It hasn't really been too bad.
Yeah.
But I still think if you're going to keep calling it the Power 5 conference, then all 5 teams need to get in.
Yeah.
And I think the only even way to do it is to put in the Power 5, and then you put 3 at-large bids. Mm-hmm. And then what? Okay, it's going to suck for some teams because then, you're going to have to use the Cotton Bowl. So you got the 4 majors. The Rose, the sugar,
Tostitos,
the Fiesta,
uh-huh.
and Roll Sugar Fiesta, and the Orange Bowl,
Orange
right?
Bowl,
That's
Orange Bowl,
4. If you have...
I mean, there's plenty of bowls. We're not at a shortage
4,
of
6,
bowls
8.
right
That's
now.
it right there. Your major 4.
Your major 4, yeah. Boom.
So that's it right there. Or, I mean...
And then the next 2 games, if you want to, invent one. It's not like you guys are at a shortage of finding ways to make money. Invent one. You know what, Nick? It also goes back to Americans. We're almost obsessed with the playoff system.
Yes.
Like the Premier League in England, the whole league is based on a 38-game season.
Right.
If I don't care, there's no playoffs. If you're either going to play your best on the, it's funny, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's one of the most iconic football players of all time, he has this huge reign in Europe where he plays all over Europe and plays at a high level. He comes to the LA Galaxy here in the MLS, and he's just shitting on the league every single week.
Oh, yeah.
And not only shitting on the league on the field and on the pitch, but also shitting on them off the pitch. And basically talking about how the playoff system that they have in soccer is not conducive to the way the world plays soccer.
Right.
The world does not play soccer with the playoff system.
Right.
Because they understand that soccer is, and even Zlatan said it, it's a mindset that every game of that 38-game season is crucial.
Yep.
And you need that 3 points or you need that 1 point, because if you don't get it, you're really, really fucked. And Liverpool this year, Nick, they were up 5 points in 5 games. To us, that doesn't seem that crazy because you get 3 points for a win and 1 point for a tie. That to them is this insurmountable lead, because it's like, dude, how are you going to make up? You still have 33 games left in the season, and people are saying, how are we going to make up 5 points? Like, that's how crucial every single game in the Premier League is.
Right.
That's why there's this craze around soccer. Don't get me wrong, it also has to do with it being around since the 1700s.
Right.
But at the same time, the reason why there's this cult-like following in England, it doesn't matter if, we're talking about if we're in Rolling Meadows. Rolling Meadows has your own team, and everyone is just into Rolling Meadows. Man, we love the Rolling Meadows team, and it's in our blood, And we're not even talking about teams like Manchester United or some of these giant teams. We're talking about teams that are in the 3rd, 4th division where they're like, yeah, I've never missed a game and this and this and that. The way you really find that is to, find value in every single game. And I think even in the NFL to some aspects, you're like, as long as we get there, I just want to get to the playoffs. Let's just get us there, Even if we're 8-8, who cares? I get it. It's a different game. It's more physical, but at the same time, that killer mentality is not there in American sports right now.
No, you're right about that, and I kind of agree with Zlatan when it comes to that.
To the
playoff system. It's confusing to me.
Yeah. He's like, how can you? Because they keep asking him about how do you approach mindset wise with your European mindset? How do you bring that over here? He's like, how can I bring that over here when you can have a shitty season, still make it to the playoffs, and win the championship?
Right.
He's like, to me, that's just not right. It's
right.
You can't develop a killer mentality with that format.
Right. Wonder why the coach is out here talking to the refs. It was 4th and 1, and Alabama converted.
Maybe a measurement.
And they're going all the way to. They're at the 1 yard line.
Oh, they're at the 1 yard line. Okay.
Yeah, but for some reason he was out there talking. We'll wait for this to load up a little bit.
Cool.
Trying to think. Before we get into the NFL, let's talk a little UFC 244.
Oh yes. The quote unquote BMF title.
Yeah, the BMF title, dude. And I texted you.
Yeah.
The minute I saw that title.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what they bought this for
it's ugly. It's ugly.
Dude, it's not so much that it's ugly. It's generic as balls.
Yeah, it's the same one that they
had. It's an octagon title that says BMF.
Yeah,
Dude, you just spent money on an octagon title that says UFC.
And by the way, it's the most expensive belt they've ever made. $50,000. The most expensive belt they've ever made.
What a piece of crap. Dude, and this is what drives me nuts, because I feel the same way when it comes to the WWE. So let me make sure I got this straight. Vince McMahon pays millions of dollars for these guys to come up with idealistic looks for the belts, right? He has to.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring back, you had, let's go way back, okay? When Tito Santana was the Intercontinental Champion, he had like this old green title. He threw away the green title when they brought in the title that many of the greats have held. Macho Man, Randy Savage, Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, the British Bulldog, those guys, right? Then, for whatever reason, they took that design, scrapped it, and brought some generic, ugly-ass, oval, purple title that The Rock started using, and they kept it for a very long
that's
time.
right. That belt
Ugly
was ugly
as hell.
Yeah. Why they put a purple on a belt, I will never understand.
Yes, exactly. So you do that, and then when Cody Rhodes became the Intercontinental Champion, he brought the old design back that you have now. Now, this is where I'm gonna get upset. When you had the WWE Championship, okay, they had the more, I guess it was the plain WWE logo. So when they were talking about they're going to reveal what their new title belt, when they were doing the two title thing, you had the World Championship and the WWE Championship, right?
Yeah,
So then they were like, well, what are we going to call the championship? Well, Twitter says we're going to call the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Fine. So then when they were talking about the new design, people would come up with these killer-ass designs, like they were on the internet.
It always seems like the internet does better than the actual league does at those designs, too.
Right. Yeah, Phil, was the night right after WrestleMania 14 was when they went from the old Intercontinental title because The Rock had it while he was still in the nation, and then he lost it to Ken Shamrock, and Ken Shamrock held that ugly-ass oval Intercontinental Championship. That thing was ugly. Hideous, that thing was ugly, man. Millions of dollars you're paying these guys, and the best you came up with some ugly-ass oval purple strap championship. Okay? So then they come with all the, like, there was some people that thought that the WWE was going to come with a concept where they was going to have, like, the Winged Eagle belt that they, when they introduced that in WrestleMania 4, when the Macho Man won that tournament. And then all they did was put the same logo or the same concept for the WWE Championship, and they just put the current logo on it. Millions of dollars,
That's the best
and this is the best you came up with. So then, when they split the brands again, Raw needed a championship because the WWE title went to SmackDown. So Raw needed their own title. Instead of just bringing back the World Heavyweight Championship like you should have, they're saying we're going to bring back the Universal title because we're going to pay homage to the fans. Fine. But then you took the WWE logo title, the WWE Championship, and you did the same thing with the Universal, but the strap is red. There's no creativity in this.
Yeah, can we get a little creativity?
Now, the reason why I tell this story is because if you're the UFC and you're talking about I paid $50,000 for a title, the best you can do is a BMF title, a black strapped octagon that has the letters BMF on it. If you paid $50,000 for that crap, Dana White should be fired on the spot because that is the worst $50,000 you could ever spend. That belt is crap.
And there's no bling. There's no bling. It's like rubies. So it's not like it's like, you know, the WWE or the UFC title itself is pretty expensive because it has like these colorful rubies on it. Yeah. It was like just completely plain, one-toned. I thought it was dumb. You know, honestly, Nick, it ended up being a very big like symbol for the fight itself. Just a lot of hoopla, a lot of like, ooh, the BMF title, wow. And then, you know, what an ironic way to end the BMF title, where a doctor comes in and says that this cut is too much and we have to stop this fight. You know, listen, I've heard a lot of people talking shit about that doctor, Nick, and that doctor is in a tough position. He's got a job to do. He's never watched Nate Diaz fights before, guys.
Right.
Listen, I get it. We all understand that Nate is cut up easily. He has a lot of scar tissue around his eyes. You sneeze on him the wrong way, he will start bleeding. This doctor does not know that. He's never watched UFC before. He's there he's doing a job. He's hired to do a job, and his license is on the line. If Nate Diaz lost his eye in that fight, he could come after that doctor.
Yep.
The commission could come after that doctor.
Yep.
So I understand where the doctor is coming from. I think the problem with the system right now is that the UFC has some doctors that understand the deal, and the deal is these guys are warriors and they fight, they fight voluntarily. And you saw that Nate was saying, "I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm ready to go." And now Nate might be done. Nate tweeted and Instagrammed a couple days ago, basically saying, peace out. And I'm not sure if we should believe him. He's done this before. He did it like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So I don't think it's too crazy to say that he's doing it again. But, there's a lot of people saying that Nate might be serious. And Nick Diaz right now is doing some really successful stuff with his academy, his jiu-jitsu academy.
Yeah.
So they're very successful right now, like money-wise. And I think things are going, like Nate's a superstar. People love him. If he wanted to come back, he could. But the problem with that fight was that I think Jorge made him look really bad.
He did.
Jorge was on top of his shit that night, and his right was just too much for Nate right there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it almost seemed like Masvidal was playing games. Mm-hmm. Like every time Nate Diaz maybe got a flurry of shots, Masvidal was laughing at him.
Right.
And then was pretty much like, okay, let me give you 3 more. And his 3 was more effective than Nate's 3.
Right.
There was a couple of times where I felt Masvidal was playing with him in the sense of when they were locking up on the cage, Masvidal is just sitting there like, okay, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do something.
Do something, right.
And if you don't, I'm going to severely whoop your ass right now.
Yeah.
And when
it's
he
like older
wouldn't,
brother to his younger
he'd
brother.
push him off and bang, 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 just start getting him hits. So then when we get to the point where he's got freaking Nate Diaz painting the floor like Picasso when he hit him with a combo and kicked him in the face, which started the cut in the first place.
Yeah. He almost finished him in the first round.
He really did, and I'm surprised that he didn't.
Yeah.
And that shows you the heart of Nate Diaz. He ain't no
for
punk.
sure. Yeah.
But he most definitely got rocked, and I think at that point Masvidal was like, okay, this is pretty much over because unless I'm really that stupid to get caught, there's nothing that he's going to do that's going to hurt me.
Yeah.
And, it's the unfortunate finish. It's not what Masvidal wanted. It's not what Diaz wanted. But I'm with you. The doctor had a job to do. Mm-hmm. And if the doctor feels here's the thing. The UFC is a barbaric sport.
It is.
But at the same time, you have to have doctors in there. We're talking about the same UFC when it first started, when you had guys 300 plus pounds taking on guys 150.
Yeah, headbutting each other.
And headbutting each other, and they were wearing shoes, and some wasn't wearing
grabbing
shoes.
each other's nuts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A bunch of just stupid nonsense.
Yeah.
And to a point where Dana White's like, hold on, dude, we need to do some weight classes. The only UFC fighter in the past who was the exception to the rule was the great Hoist Gracie. That's it. Nobody else was 350 pounds going against 150.
The way Hoist Gracie beat Chemo too, man, that was crazy. Like Chemo 200 pounds, heavier than him.
You know what I'm saying? So those days are over. But it's still a barbaric sport. And like you said, the doctor had a job to do. I wasn't very upset with the fact of why they stopped the fight. I'm like, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But then to look at Jorge's face, and then you look at The Rock's face, because now all of a sudden The Rock's
like,
sad.
I know, it was crazy. The Rock did not crack one smile.
He didn't at all.
Yeah.
Oh, what a first down.
Yeah, that running back, this guy, Edwards Lorraine, I believe is his name. He's having a tremendous game against Alabama.
Yeah, he is. Man,
by the way, Alabama has scored since we last updated you guys, so it's a one-score game, but LSU has the ball right now, and
they're driving pretty bad, and that was a nice play. So back to the fight, though, again. Now, here's the thing. Now, you look at the aftermath. Yeah. Not so much for Nate Diaz, but let's talk about Jorge Masvidal for a second. Because now we have to tie this into the fact that Canelo knocked out Kovalev legit 45 minutes afterwards. Yeah. And let's talk about that, because I kind of saw bits and pieces of the fight and whatnot. Let me talk about that first. First off, this is completely off boxing. Can we please stop trying to make the national anthem American Idol audition?
Yeah, right. Let's just do it.
God bless. Okay, look. They sang the Russian national anthem.
Yeah.
Straight through. The hot-ass Mexican girl is singing the Mexican national anthem straight
She
through.
did a great job.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Jorge Johnson with the United States national anthem. Everyone stands.
Yeah.
Can you see? God bless, you should have been at least 20 words in the song by now. We don't need the audition.
Yeah.
Sing the goddamn song
You can see it
so
on-
we can move on to the fight.
You can see it on Kovalev's face the whole time too. When they kept panning to him, he's like this, like, "What is going on?
Yes,
Let's get this
he's
over
like,
with."
I wanted to walk out to the ring 10 minutes ago, and this man is still on. Say that, like, oh my God, dude, I was getting so pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, sing the song so we get to the fight.
So we can do this.
So now, after all that hoopla, Canelo did what Canelo was gonna do and knocked out Kovalev.
Let's be honest, though. He was people had him ahead in that fight, and some people had him losing that fight. He didn't look the best, but I still had him ahead on the cards. But what a finale! Like, if you needed any sort of like idea of how powerful Canelo is, take a look at that shot.
And that right there is why Floyd Mayweather Jr. is probably the greatest boxer ever.
For sure, yeah.
Because Canelo is 20 times stronger than Floyd.
Yeah.
Floyd still made him look like
And
a fool
never
in the fight.
came close to hitting him with the type of power that he hit Kovalev with on multiple occasions. So.
And it's so funny because like every time you talk to Floyd Mayweather, everyone still keeps talking about how he quote unquote dodged Manny Pacquiao. For every here's the thing: 50 Cent can go around and talk about how illiterate that Floyd Mayweather might be.
Sure.
Floyd Mayweather knows how much money's in the bank.
Yeah, that's it.
And Floyd
You can read
Mayweather
numbers.
also knows that he's not stupid when he knows that there might be something wrong with Manny Pacquiao. In the sense of very few fighters in boxing can get stronger as the match goes on.
True.
Floyd is at a point in his career where he's so good defensively. Like, you know how they say in basketball, defense turned into offense? That's what Floyd Mayweather is.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of with Floyd in this thing. If you look at some of Manny Pacquiao's fights, how is this man almost punching harder in the 9th through 12th rounds than he did 1 through 8? Something about that don't make sense. That's why he kept saying, nah, let's take these tests. And I want to make sure that you're juicing. And then all of a sudden, Pacquiao's like, oh, I can't do that because I would be too weak and all this other stuff. He's like, look, I'm taking the same test you taking. So what is you scared for?
Right, yeah.
And everyone was trying to get on Floyd.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden, when they did both face off, now it's, oh, well, man, he's washed up. He's done because he got the hell knocked out of him by Juan Manuel Marquez in that one fight, which, oh, by the way, I know I'm all over the place, which, oh, by the way, Manuel Marquez, as far as I'm concerned, beat Pacquiao twice. Because in that first one that they had, when he won by decision, Pacquiao, total BS.
That was BS.
Manuel Marquez was whooping his ass for at least 9 rounds.
Almost knocked him out at one point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How in that fight you gonna tell me that Manny Pacquiao beat Juan Manuel Marquez touchdown LSU?
Wow.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Pure garbage. That's why I hate judges too.
Yeah. By the way, if you guys missed it, during that Canelo event, because that was the same night as the BMF title fight, the boxing, that event, they delayed the Canelo fight and then put a live. They called the So here's what Dana White revealed in an interview this week. The boxing promotion called Dana White the night of the BMF fight and said, would you mind us playing the fight live at the arena? Apparently it was DAZN. DAZN is the new network that Canelo, Triple G, Tyson Fury, a lot of these guys are signing with as an exclusive. They're trying to get in. They're trying to fill the void that HBO left when HBO separated from the boxing world,
right?
In many ways. And Dana White was flabbergasted because boxing never acknowledges UFC. They feel the pressure that the UFC has put on boxing,
right?
And boxing has done a lot of resisting of the UFC, and this time they said, we can't resist this matchup. We know that most of the people who are in the arena to watch this fight would also like to watch the Diaz fight. So the Diaz-Masvidal fight. So they actually live streamed on the Jumbotron the Diaz Masvidal fight and delayed the Canelo Kovalev fight so that they could do that. That just shows the type of impact the UFC has had now. That even boxing is saying white flags are up. We have to acknowledge these guys are beasts. They're doing their thing. I think that's a smart move for boxing. Boxing needs the UFC support, and they need the UFC fan base's support as well as now LSU scores, guys. So 10 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. They missed a 2-point conversion, so it's 39-27. So still a two-score game, and technically 2 touchdowns wins you this game. So it's not out of it, but again, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter here.
Joe Burrow just doing a clinic against LSU. I mean, against Alabama right now.
And this running back, my goodness,
he had a strong
game
drive
for
on
him.
that one. The reason why I brought this up is because now there's word on the street that Masvidal is interested in maybe
in a boxing
match against Canelo.
Yeah,
yes, I will get that.
Sure.
And I'm talking about because, dude, streaming it's kind of hard.
True. Yeah.
So
we don't stream here, guys. Never.
So this might be one of those where I'm like, nah, I need to see this bad boy. Like, dude, Canelo's a beast, Masvidal's a beast, and I know that Masvidal will go in and take it seriously because I never took the McGregor versus Mayweather thing seriously.
No, yeah, and Masvidal's a much better boxer than
better
than Mayweather.
And now
McGregor.
And speaking of the dumbass that's Conor McGregor, I can't stand him.
He's wearing really thin
and I can't stand his stupid ass, dumb ass, following ass fans that honestly think that Conor McGregor is the best UFC fighter that has ever stepped in the octagon.
Oh my God.
Dude, you are jokes. I can name at least a solid Mark Coleman.
There's at least 15
Ken
fighters
Shamrock,
you would put. Now
Tito,
listen, promotion-wise, maybe you want to put him in there. But fighter? No.
I'm being asked who's the next FSU head coach. We talked Deion.
Yeah.
Deion's just not a coach. Like, there's nothing like coach about Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
I don't know who's the next head coach for Florida State. I really don't. Because I just want a guy that will bring a pro-like real offense to Florida State. Mm-hmm. Because that's the players we got. Okay? Not for nothing. It's why DeAndre Francois is gone. When he tore up his knee and they were running that offense, it didn't work for him because he was too scared to run. And plus, the offensive line freaking sucked.
Yeah, and he wanted to pass. Like, he wanted to prove that he was a passer, and they wouldn't let him.
And they wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
My thing is this. Florida State, for what it's worth, is still one of the top 3 schools, if not top 2 schools, in Florida. Okay? Because Florida, high school-wise, is still big. Recruiting-wise, it's still big.
Ginormous.
Because I put Florida first because they're really good, us, and then monkey-ass Miami. Miami kissed my ass for all I care, okay? The only reason why Miami beat Florida State is because Willie Taggart doesn't know how to win games, at least not in Florida State. If we still had Jimbo Fisher, you still would not have beaten us. So, Phil, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I do not know who's gonna be the next head coach of Florida State.
This seems like a situation where they take on maybe a smaller school, a really successful smaller school's head coach.
Oh, I got one. Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's name came up.
He's done a tremendous job at FIU.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because Lane Kiffin runs a pro-similar style offense. Like you said, he's been good at FIU. I would take him over Deion Sanders. Now, if you want to bring on Deion Sanders maybe as a defensive coordinator.
Sure. Or
I'm all
any
for
sort
that.
of coach to get him started. Sure.
Thank
why not?
you.
Yeah.
I am all for that.
Yeah. And it helps with recruiting, like we talked about. It helps with recruiting to have Deion on your side.
Lane Kiffin. Thank you.
Lane Kiffin's
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing it in my head. Yes. Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin's
I am
a good
going for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. I like that one.
In Lane we trust.
And he didn't really get a great, I wouldn't even say he got a unfair shake, but it wasn't really a good situation for him when he had
Some
his
of that
pro
was
team.
Lane Kiffin's fault, though.
True.
The way he kind of left was it Tennessee.
True, yeah.
That
and
was
then
kind of his own
and then he had problems with the players in Oakland. I mean, there was a lot of player issues with him as well. So I get it, I guess.
Steven says, let Joe Buck go. I swear to God, if I had to see big head Joe Buck on the sidelines of Florida State, I would throw a brick dead through my TV.
Joe Buck is just, man, that dude must just have a mattress made of money. Just
oh, this man calls everything.
Calls every single game.
Calls everything.
He's doing promotions. These dudes, people don't even realize that dudes like Joe Buck, man, that dude doesn't have a worry in the world. Like, I understand that, he's come out in the past and said, I used to be very self-conscious about my hair, and I've since been able to be better. If that's your biggest problem, bro, you're doing really well right now. Right. Because I never noticed your hair before. I'll be honest with you. I never noticed your hair until you mentioned it. And all I really know about you is that you're calling a game every fucking day of the week sometimes.
My boy PT3 says UCF over Miami. Oh, any day of the week. Dude, Miami kissed my nuts, dude. What has Miami done since their last national championship? Which was what? 03?
Yeah, that's early 2000s.
Bro, it's 2019. You haven't done squat in 16 years.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. The freaking idiots come out with that stupid ass chain, and then
oh my God.
And then to make it worse, why Florida State come out with that Rudy Poo ass turnover backpack. Stop it. You're better than that.
Oh, my God.
Don't follow these idiots.
The turnover chain's bad enough. I mean,
yeah, morons.
Can't get much worse than that.
Yeah, so Miami, enjoy your wins, because if we get Lane Kiffin next year, which I'm all for, dude, you guys are going to get mopped. Yeah. Watch Lane Kiffin make James Blackman look like Jameis Jr.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
No, and Lane's done, like we talked about, Lane's done a tremendous job at FIU. I think he's had a lot of players who like playing for him now, too, so good for him. Before we move on from the UFC, Nick, I talked about a fight last week, the light heavyweight fight between Corey Anderson and Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker was the guy with a lot of hype behind him, and Corey Anderson was the guy that was, sort of a little underhyped, local guy from Rockford. And Corey Anderson put on a clinic and actually beat Johnny Walker by knocking him out.
Right.
Which was pretty crazy because, Walker, first of all, I think he didn't take Corey as seriously as he should have on the feet, and he took a really nasty right and went down and it's always crazy to me when UFC fighters take a hit to the head and are just like, no, that didn't hurt me, like in the fight, as if it's like that first of all, there's it's very obvious that what punch hurts harder.
Right.
I could see by the way your head snaps back that hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Johnny Walker got hurt in that first punch. And I'll be honest with you, I think his reaction, which was he was trying to showboat as if to say, like, that was nothing, had a lot to do with why he got knocked out. Because next thing you know, boom, he's taking shots to the head, back of the head, and now he's on the ground, and then they stopped the fight. And by the way, Corey Anderson was very emotional after the fight, got right into Johnny Walker's face. And Dan Hardy, one of the announcers for the UFC, had said it had something to do with Johnny Walker apparently or not apparently taunting Corey in the back and saying, like, I'm going to knock you out and and all this stuff, and that's why Corey was so heated. And then Johnny came out and basically right away was like, that's not true. I'm a fierce competitor, but I would never do that, And Corey Anderson came out and backed up Johnny Walker and said, no, he never did that. That was a fan. Never heard that. So there's a lot of speculation. The UFC is starting to find a little bit more of its WWE sort of side with this whole, like, even one of my buddies, my old coworkers who I still keep up with, he messaged me because he's a big wrestling fan.
Yes.
And he said, what is this BMF stuff? Like, why? What this is such a WWE thing. And I explained to him, listen, the UFC got bought out a couple years ago for $4 billion. They need to find a way to make that $4 billion back, right? So the shticks and the little things that are not, now we're starting to see more and more of these cards with 3 championship fights on them. They're trying to go all in. They want to make sure that we're just going to go all in. The ESPN deal, all in. You know, they had a shot to go back with Fox. They said no to Fox, specifically went to ESPN to try and expose themselves to more sports fans. Apparently it's working because the numbers are looking good and fighters are making pretty good money right now. I mean, not everyone. I know Masvidal and Nate made it out really nice from that event. So I don't think either of them were mad about the result. I think Nate was probably pretty happy. And you know, listen, Nate, man, is a guy who has been in the game for a while. But I think Masvidal, we're starting to see, okay, this guy's serious. He's an assassin. He's a guy who has the type of power that you need. And there's a lot of killers in that division. So we'll see what happens with that. But a little anticlimactic, not the best. I thought the card was really good, but I think there was so much hype about those last two fights, and it was pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Steven says WWE sucks. AEW's stuff now.
You're not on that train yet?
I'm not. I've been watching the NXT AEW the rivalry.
They are doing okay, because they're both on Wednesdays. Yeah, okay.
The NXT shows are very entertaining. They're very entertaining. So I don't know if I would go as far as saying that AEW sucks. I mean, the WWE sucks. Yeah, Raw's too long still. First down, Bama.
They're still going till like 10 o'clock.
And what you call it? I haven't watched SmackDown. I got to record it, so I have to catch up at some point. But if you're going to tell me what's better between NXT and AEW, I still kind of go with NXT. I still think AEW. If I could go and take a trip down memory lane for a second, there was a WrestleMania that happened about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. It was at that whatever their stadium is called.
Oh, okay. The football stadium or the
Levi Stadium.
Levi Stadium.
There we go. It was at Levi Stadium. Mm-hmm. There was a match between Neville and Austin Aries. And everyone's like, oh, this is such a great match between the two. And I didn't like it because I felt they tried too hard to make the moves look good. Like when you try to do a jump kick, the oversell, the overmove, everything, like you got to make the drop kick so crisp and you got to jump back up to make it look good. You ain't got to do all that.
Right.
That's what AEW is right now. Where like some guy, like, okay, I watched a match a couple weeks ago between the Lucha Brothers and they were facing some Party All the Time team. I forget what it was. And that match to me sucked so bad. I thought there were so many botches because the Lucha Brothers were trying so hard to do these moves that they weren't flowing. Like the Lucha Brothers wanted to do some stupid shit, and then you had the Party All the Time team, whatever they're called. They're like trying to flow. The Lucha Brothers are doing too much. It's crap. It's like dumb. Like promo-wise, oh yeah, no, the AEW's where it's at.
Right.
They can cut some promos. But as far as the wrestling concerned between NXT and AEW, I still think NXT is a little bit better.
Yeah.
I really do. I do. I mean, Chris Jericho's like 50, and this man can still cut a promo better than 90% of the guys in the WWE.
True.
But his wrestling is not where this isn't the Jericho that debuted in Chicago back in 1990, whatever.
I really hope, with some of these guys like Jericho and, even to a certain extent, like some of these other guys that are in WWE don't turn into these Ric Flairs where, they're fighting well after they're supposed to.
Okay, that's A. But let me say it like this. For what it's worth, a lot of people, wrestling in sport. Okay, so you got wrestling, and then you have, like, when it comes to, like, championships in sports. Like, for instance, many people will tell you that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player that ever lived because he won 6 titles and never lost. But then people will tell you that LeBron, if you say LeBron James is the best, people say, well, he lost 6 times in the finals. Okay, but he's still a 2-time champ. Okay? When it comes to wrestling, it's kind of the same way. People will tell you, oh, Ric Flair won the World Heavyweight Championship 6 times or 16 times. He's the greatest ever. But I will argue that Ric Flair really, he won the title a lot, because I think he was kind of lucky, man. Right time, right spot.
Yeah, he's such an icon that they pushed him.
What I don't like is the fact that if you look at a lot of Ric Flair's matches, it's the same match. You throw him into the turnbuckle.
Right.
He flips over
Beat
the
him
turnbuckle.
up really badly.
He runs across. He comes up. He comes to get you with an axe handle. You hit him in the gut.
Yeah.
It's like Bald Bull in Mike Tyson's Punch Out when he would jump back, and then you got to jump up and you got to dodge, and then he would jump back. And then the next time he comes, you got to hit him in the stomach before he hits you.
Right, yeah.
It's the same stuff.
Yeah,
it's
you
the
know what's
same
coming.
move.
You know what's coming, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Ric Flair won a lot of titles, scripted, non-scripted, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's never a time when you said, oh, Ric Flair really put on this great of a match, ABC.
Yeah, I think... You know what, Nick? I have a nostalgic feeling about wrestling. I don't watch it right now, but I've watched it for a long, long time because my dad still watches wrestling to this day. He's never missed wrestling. He loves it. And my big thing is, man, when you watch some of these documentaries about guys like Jake the Snake, Scott Hall, even Kevin Nash to a certain extent. You start to wonder, like, let's be honest. I know he's already passed, but what's the name of the oh my goodness, Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
These are all guys who you feel bad. It's almost like in the NFL when you have these guys who are like playing in the 1920s and 1930s, and you're like, man, you must have made like $12, dude, because you can barely walk right now.
Yeah.
And these guys in one game are making more than you made in your whole career.
Right.
And in a certain way, I think that's why Ric Flair sort of stayed with it for so. That's why guys stay with it for so long. It's money, right? Okay, even if you don't pay me to wrestle, you'll pay me to show up and talk on a mic and do a really good job of cutting a promo. So I think guys like Chris Jericho should try and take like a Paul Heyman role now. Try and be a guy that's like still in the scene, cutting promos, doing a lot of things. But have the younger spry guys do the wrestling now, and stop trying to perform well beyond your prime.
A lot of people were upset when they put the AEW on Jericho for that reason because he was old. But I think it was kind of the smart move because Jericho
he's such a name.
Has a great way of putting people over.
Right.
A lot better than if you put the title on Cody, it's not going to hold the same merit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's going to feel different, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to feel much different. So, I don't know, man. Again, when it comes to NXT versus AEW, I'm still watching NXT, and I'll just watch AEW on the replay.
Okay, that's my dad too. That's my dad's stance. I tried to get him to watch AEW. He wasn't having it. I think it's just more so because he doesn't know the guys. But
it could be that too.
Even with NXT, he'll watch and he'll enjoy it. But I think because he's watched and seen these characters develop on Raw and SmackDown for so long, I think that's where he sort of sees the the storylines and everything tying in and knowing, this last week this happened to this guy. And I think when he loses that aspect, I think it's a little bit tougher for him.
Steven says Flair blew his money on drinking and partying.
True, as does everyone. Does everyone, guys. Let's not be. Jake the Snake talked about it in his documentary. He was snorting coke with 3 hands. So let's not. I get it, but also let's be honest, man. It has a lot to do with what they do for a living. You're beating the shit out of yourself, and you're in 10 car accidents per night, and then by the way, we're gonna drive over to some other place in 3 days, and you're gonna do it all over again.
Yep.
So and especially the way they did it back then, there was not a lot of there wasn't a doctor you went to. It was like, here's the pill room. Go to the pill room. Oh, if the pill room doesn't do well, just go shotgun 12 beers, and then if the beers didn't do enough for you, fuck it, go shoot up something, whatever. It doesn't really matter, and that's the life of again, that Mickey Rourke movie, man. The wrestler,
yeah.
I know a lot of people were like, over dramatization of this, but listen, dude, it's kind of crazy. I toured with this guy when I worked for the Harlem Globetrotters. He was the audio guy, and out of nowhere, he just got this itch to become a wrestler, and now I'm following him on Facebook, and he's a wrestler in the UK, and sort of trying to come up there, but he's still working in the audio industry, and it's pretty crazy because when you start to see the grind that you have to go through to be a wrestler, people don't really understand. They think they just go out there and they're just like, oh, really acrobatic and really cool. They're making moves and they got good pain. They can manage pain well. No, man, these guys are fighting injured. That's why when you see these guys miss a year of time, it's usually because something major happened, but it's also because I got 10 injuries to nurse right now at this point. I might as well just stay out the whole damn year. So
true.
We've seen that happen before, and even Seth Rollins, if I'm remembering correctly, has had that problem recently where he missed.
He missed a lot. He tore his ACL doing a buckle powerbomb or whatever, and his leg gave out.
Yeah, so and that, man, I feel bad for wrestlers because I know they're making good money now, but man, back in the day.
Quick news before we get into the NFL.
Yes, sir,
Gordon Hayward apparently has fractured his left hand.
Oh no.
So Gordon
What's up with hand injuries this year?
Yeah, Steph is out.
Steph is out
for the rest of the year.
Here's the thing, man. If we're going to start fining guys for talking weird about free agents, what are we going to say when we hear the Golden State Warriors saying, yeah, he could probably come back by December or by end of December, he could probably come back by end of February, but we're just going to keep him out the rest of the year. To me, that's a team saying, fuck it, we might as well just lose.
Just going to go ahead and tank.
Just gonna tank, man, I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't got any of our guys anymore, so we might as well. At this point, if you're Golden State, what's the best possible scenario that could happen? Draymond and Steph and Clay don't play, and this team sucks, and you get a top 3 pick, and you get a guy that could possibly take you back to the promised land.
And let me say this. I think D'Angelo Russell is playing to be traded.
I think they probably knew that when they signed him.
Yep.
They knew that when they signed him. If this works out, well, great. If it doesn't, we'll trade this guy and get the assets because he's still young,
And that's what I think. So, I mean, he signed a huge contract, and I actually was all for the Knicks trying to bring him in because I'm thinking, okay, you're already in New York. You played in Brooklyn, so you already got the New York taste.
Yeah.
But you could bring that same style for a team that's kind of got a logjam at point guard and not figuring things out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so figure it out for him. Yeah. And I think the Knicks wanted to sign him.
Watch out for the Lakers, too, on that.
They could bring him
watch
back.
Out for the Lakers, man. I'm not gonna, because like I said earlier in the show, I think the Lakers still need shooting. I think that's the one thing right now that could really help them because Kuzma's a good shooter, Green's a good shooter, but they need that guy that they can go to, not just a 3-point shooter, a guy that can really produce for them other than AD and LeBron. And I think Russell's a pretty good option for that, and he can run an offense.
I think so too. Right now, Joe Burrow and LSU is just tearing Alabama.
Yeah, and they are killing time right now too.
All right, well, let's get into a little foosball.
Yes, sir.
We're at the back end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up these.
You know what? I can actually pull those up. You can start with Thursday Night Football. I'll pull up I got you. All right. You did it last week, and you can keep the stream
the
up.
Celtics are beating the brakes off the Spurs right now, even though what's the name? Look at this, dude. I got a full slate of games tomorrow. Freaking the Bucks play at noon. The Rangers play at noon. See, this is why. This is exactly why I need to be in New York. It's the New York in New York.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. That's
awesome.
You could have went to a Rangers and a Knicks game in the same damn day.
Yes.
That would have been dope as hell. By the way, guys, for those of you who are wondering, it's still 39-34. LSU is leading, and it just hit 2 minutes. It's actually just hit 2 minutes right now. We're watching. It's a little
Joe
delayed.
Burrow's keeping it,
and he's running it. And oh my God, they're inside the 6-yard line right now. Looks like LSU's going to take this one, dude. Unless barring any craziness, looks like LSU's going to take this one.
It's going to make it. It is definitely going to make what you call it. It's going to make
It's going to make Clemson.
The college football rankings that much interesting if the number 3 and 4 team both go down.
And the playoff stuff, the whole playoff kick is coming soon. I mean, we're not that far away from starting to talk about, oh my God, this may have playoff implications.
Well, but here's the thing, and I'm pretty sure somebody's thinking this too. They're going to be like, well, how can you punish Ohio State for beating Maryland because Maryland sucks? Yeah. I can because Ohio State hasn't played and there goes the running back again. Hasn't played jack all year. While meanwhile you have LSU taking on the number 3 team in the nation. Who, by the way, earlier in the year,
I love seeing disappointed
beat
fans.
the number 9 team in the nation in Texas on the road. So you're going to tell me that the LSU Tigers are going to potentially be 2 top 10 teams on the road, not in neutral home, on the road.
Yeah, I don't care. They've got to be the number one
craps on
team.
anything Ohio State has done all flipping year.
Yeah, no, they've got to be the number one team after this one.
Yeah.
Man. They've got to be. I don't care. Listen, Ohio State took care of business, but at the end of the day, this was an impressive performance. And not a lot of people expected much out of LSU this year, Nick. The talk earlier this year was Alabama, Auburn because of the whole Bo Nix thing, phenomenon to start off, and Georgia. And Florida sort of crept into the conversation, and LSU was sort of, just sort of in the back burner. But then Joe Burrow comes out and has these amazing games, and we talked about it before the podcast started. He might be a number one pick next year.
He might be.
Both of our teams, depending on how the rest of the season goes, we might not be in the number one position, but we might be looking at quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow might be the first one taken.
I want my team to be looking at some offensive line so Jameis isn't getting hit 5 million times in a goddamn game.
That poor Jameis, man. Well, Nick, let's just jump right into football, my man. Thursday night football. The Chargers actually on the road against the Raiders. Man, it might be time to start talking about the Raiders and John Gruden as like a good team and organization.
Yeah.
Put some respect on John Gruden's name now. Okay,
Yep.
The guy, all he's done in 2 years is turn around. People were really, really crucifying this guy for the Khalil Mack trade. Really, really crucifying this guy for the Amari Cooper trade. People, even in the offseason, were saying this guy selected a running back in the first round. Get him out of here. He sucks. All they did was talk about how Clelin Ferrell wasn't even the best guy on his college.
Ferrell,
Ferrell, not even the best on his own college team.
He was not. He was like the third best guy on that defensive
line. So a lot of people were really putting dirt on John Gruden earlier this year, and it's time to start talking about him as 26-24 was the final as the Raiders pull away. The Chargers came back at some points, but I love what Oakland's got an amazing offensive line.
They do.
Amazing running back. I love Josh Jacobs, and quite frankly, Carr does a really good job. I don't think he makes the throws that you want him to make a lot of times. He misses a lot of NFL throws, but he understands what it's like to play in the NFL now. I think he's really realizing how to win games. Having Josh Jacobs there has really helped him, and Darren Waller has really helped him too. We saw what Jared Cook did last year with them, and Carr loved to feed him, and we're seeing the same thing with Waller. As Waller, had a pretty good game, but Jacobs 71 yards and a touchdown, 218 yards passing for Carr and a touchdown. Phillip Rivers threw 3 interceptions. Again, just seems like right now the Chargers are on the decline.
Speaking of teams that could be looking for quarterbacks, I think the Los Angeles Chargers is one of them.
Yep.
I think
even if Rivers comes back, right?
Right.
Like
even
if he comes back, we've got to have a quarterback.
Let him sit. Let whoever you're going to draft sit behind Phillip one more year and let him go.
Sure.
I think. Well, I almost slipped and said the Giants. Forgot about Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati's a team that's going to be looking.
For sure. They've already benched Dalton. Oh, my God. Wow. Is Alabama's going to get a quick score here as they, a long, looks like 80-yard touchdown for Alabama. That just brought them back to within 6 right now, and they're probably not going to go for 2. They probably would just have to kick the extra point.
Either way you look at
they
have to get the ball back.
So they're going to kick the extra point. They only had 2 timeouts, but still, 1:21. I'm guessing onside kick is coming soon. My God, a long pass from Tua. The Dolphins. The Dolphins are obviously going to be in the conversation. I think. I know Rosen is going to be there, but it's going to be too hard to pass up when you have a guy like Herbert or Burrow or somebody like that, because they're going to have so many picks. Or Tua, even Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah. And think about it. If you're I don't know why this keeps doing this.
The Bears too.
If you're the Bears.
The Bears too. I mean, listen, man, it might be time. Listen, I think Mr. Trubisky's getting a really, really rough go of it lately. I think a lot of it is him being not ready, but I also think a lot of it has to do with our coaching staff and the people around him. So I'm not ready to give up on him. But shit, fuck that. It's the NFL. If you can't make this happen this year, we're ready to draft a quarterback next year.
And on top of that, I mean, I mean, I think first of all, I think Mitch is hurt,
Oh, you still think the shoulders bother him?
and second off, there's already talks of the Bears going to look at Cam Newton.
Cam, yeah. I'm not sure about that one, man. Listen, I like Cam, but after this injury, it would be a huge gamble to give up any sort of assets for a guy like that.
Well, he's a
contract
free
like
agent.
that.
I think he's going to – a lot of people think that Carolina's going to release him and they're going to settle
Oh,
with
so
Kyle
you're
Allen.
okay. In that case, we'll talk.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that. I thought we were giving up assets. If we're not giving up assets, I'm okay with
And
that.
you know what? Even if you were, I don't think you're really going to get a lot.
If it's like a third and a fifth, fine, go ahead and have it. But if
Yeah.
you tell me you want to take a first or second round
no,
pick,
I
I'm
don't
good
see
on
that.
that.
No, I wouldn't see that. I wouldn't see that. I think that's too much.
But let me ask you, Nick, does Cam Newton save this team? The way that we're currently constructed, the way that we're playing football, the way that we're playing play calling, is Cam Newton your savior of this? I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I think the Bears got a big problem here, dude. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to you Bears fans, but the Bears got a big problem here, man. If they can't handle the pressure of teams like Oakland and San Diego, the Chargers, and even to a certain extent, that Philadelphia loss, after watching Philadelphia play some other teams this year.
Jesus.
As this running back, number 22, we're going to get his name eventually. It's one of those hyphenated names, but my God, he's had a tremendous season or game for his season here. But yeah, there's a lot of core, and the thing is, Nick, there's a lot of quarterbacks this year. We're not used to seeing 4, 5, 6 guys already talking about. Let's not even forget that guys like Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, a lot of these guys, they didn't become apparent until later on in the process, end of the season, combine time. So we could be looking at 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks going in the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Easily. And this was the year to do it because of all the quarterbacks that we named. Mm-hmm. Now,
Pittsburgh is going to be looking at it too. Sorry,
No,
Pittsburgh's going to be looking at it too, man. With Roethlisberger and Rudolph's not looking too good, Pittsburgh's got to look at it too.
Pittsburgh's going to have to hope that one of them guys fall out the second round because they traded the first round draft pick for Minka Fitzpatrick, who, by the way, did run a. Didn't he have a pick six the other day against the Colts?
And he had one against the Dolphins too, I think, too. Yeah,
so I mean, maybe at the end of the day, that's that it's worth the risk to kind of. But that brings me to my next point because we got a big we got a big quarterback class coming out this year. Mm. The question I now have is, what are we going to do? I just said we. Let's go back to the quarterback class of 2 years ago. Mm. Baker, Sam, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I'm missing somebody. Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen, yeah.
For all the hoopla and the questions around Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson is still the best quarterback out of this class.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield has taken 20 steps back.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold has taken 20 steps back. Mm-hmm. Josh Rosen not only has taken 20 steps back, but got traded
and then benched twice.
Benched twice. Yeah. And Josh Allen is beneficial that the Buffalo defense is so damn good.
Mm-hmm. As LSU just finally wrapped it up, guys, 46-41.
Wow.
As LSU, the number 2 team in the country, just beats Alabama, the number 3 team in the country. Alabama's going to drop out of the top 4, but looks like LSU is going to be taking themselves to the number 1 team in the country next week. As LSU celebrates.
Nice win by LSU.
And Joe Burrow, man, what a game to put under your belt.
Yes.
To have that notch, I beat Alabama at Alabama. That's pretty nice notch on your belt there, kid. And Tua's hurt, by the way, guys. We're watching this. Tua's hurt. He is barely walking on the sideline. He doesn't even want to go and congratulate LSU. He's hurt right now. He clearly is playing through something right now.
Right. So,
Lamar.
Oh, sorry, here's what I was saying. I was saying this earlier to you before we started the podcast. The one statement that has continuously driven me nuts is Lamar Jackson better learn how to throw out the pocket because if he doesn't, he's going to get whacked and that's going to go his career.
His career's over.
Dude, shut up. Because Michael Vick ran for so long.
Yeah.
And Michael Vick, for what it's worth, didn't miss time because of a bad hit he took. He missed a substantial amount of time because of the dogfighting mess.
Yeah, and also a lot of his injuries came from being hit in the pocket, like
Yes.
being hit,
Yes.
blindsided,
For standing there,
standing there, trying to, yeah.
When Donovan McNabb, who was kind of a mixture of both,
Right,
tore his ankle in the pocket.
right.
He didn't tear his ankle scrambling.
Right.
No, he tore his ankle in the pocket. Can we just stop with all this? Okay, here's the problem. We've been spoiled by the Marinos, the Kellys, the Bradys, the Mannings.
Elway.
Elway was kind of a scrambler and
That's
good
true,
at it.
but here's the
Aaron
thing.
Rodgers was a scrambler and he's good at it.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, Eli,
Lots of pocket guys.
Big Ben, all the pocket guys, and we're like, yep, there's the guys right here that's gonna win a Super Bowl. Hell right. We can't do none of that scrambling crap because if they get out that pocket and they get whacked, it's gonna be over with, blah, 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 blah. Dude, Lamar Jackson went out against the number one defense in football and made them look like absolute clowns the entire game. And I had said this many a times, and I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, that I knew that game against New England was over when Lamar Jackson legit do a Texas two-step in the pocket and damn near scored a touchdown. I said New England has no idea what to do. Because look at all the people that New England face. Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, whatever Dolphins quarterback is. Who else?
The Bills. They didn't
Baker
play
Mayfield.
The Bills game is basically the best game of their season, and they barely squeaked by in that game. That game against the Bills. And by the way, I'll take it a step further than you did. Lamar Jackson took on one of the best defensive units of all time. This New England team, statistically, was at a historic rate.
You're right about that.
And all Baltimore did in that game was pick them apart. And all Lamar Jackson did was just sit back there, let his receivers get open, and he didn't force the issue. He didn't say, "Oh, we're playing New England. I've got to make sure that I've got to scramble and go." No, he just made sure that he was going to make sound decisions. Let his they're clearly got a really good running game with Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards, and they got great tight ends. They play 3 tight ends pretty much 90% of the time. They love playing tons of tight ends, playing crazy physical football, and props to them for that win, man. That was a big win. We'll talk about a little bit about that later.
Yeah, dude, that was a huge win. So, here's my thing. First off, let's kind of recap a few things that happened in week 9.
Okay.
And this is the number one thing that's on my list. The New York Jets have to fire Adam Gase.
Yeah, about time.
Adam Gase is not a head coach.
No.
And never mind the fact that they lost to the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, my God.
Because the Pittsburgh Steelers, for what it's worth, almost lost to the Miami Dolphins.
That's true.
Okay? The problem I have with the New York Jets is you hired a guy who shouldn't even be the head coach.
Right.
Okay? Adam Gase is not a head coach in the NFL. He didn't survive in Miami. There is a reason why he was an offensive coordinator for so long.
Yeah.
Again, there's a reason why Miami fired him. And for whatever reason, the New York Jets thought that the next best move that they should make is to bring in this idiot. Right. Yeah. And then not only so I was listening to The Fan. My favorite show of The Fan is the Evan Roberts, Joe Meningo show. They're both diehard Jets fans. Bro, I have never heard the most epic rant in my life from Joe Meningo than I did when he was talking about Adam Gase. He was done with the team. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You guys spend all this bread trying to convince.
So
you try to convince the fans that this was the move to make.
Right.
And Adam Gase has come in and made this Jets team seemingly worse. Now, this is where I thought Evan Roberts came out with a very good point. Because people would say all the Jets fans are whiny, they're this and that, blah, 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 and everything else. But let's take a look at a few things. First of all, they wanted the general manager Idjit gone because the man wasn't putting a good team together. Then the Jets fans wanted Todd Bowles gone because, and here's the thing, under Todd Bowles, Sam Darnold actually looked like a halfway decent quarterback.
Which is crazy to say under a defensive coach.
Under a defensive coach. But why would you want Todd Bowles gone? Well, I don't know. Let's ask us Tampa Bay fans how that's been going. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are ranked 30th in pass and scoring defense.
Yeah.
We can't stop anybody. I know we have a young secondary, but something's got to give.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why they wanted Todd Bowles gone. Now, I'm going to give him a benefit of the doubt because I'm going to give him one more year to implement.
Well, sure. Yeah.
But
And get the personnel first.
If we come in next year and our secondary can't guard their own goddamn shadows.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay? So, with that being said, you have Le'Veon Bell that Adam Gase didn't want, which is beyond me.
And they wanted to trade him, by the way. They were desperately trying to trade him and Jamal Adams before the deadline.
Who had an awesome game, by the way, on Sunday.
Yeah.
How did that go, Jamal, jackass? You sat here and opened your mouth the entire game, and you're like, oh, well, I can't believe, why would you trade somebody like me? I want to be in New York.
I'm a franchise type player.
Got burnt how many times in that game?
Yeah, and the Dolphins nonetheless, too. It's just kind of crazy.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I kind of had an idea that I thought Miami was going to come out and win this game because
you
they're
called it.
trying.
Yeah.
Even though they gave up on the season before it started, they're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying their hardest.
Yeah.
And I thought against the Jets, where you have Adam Gase, and Joe Meningo brought this up, I thought it was a great point. He quit on the team by midway in the third quarter.
Right, yeah.
I remember one on the fumble by Sam Darnold, well, the botch snap that happened.
Yeah.
Bro, nobody had any idea who messed up, and Adam Gase on the sideline. This how he looked the entire time. Everybody came by him. He ain't say nothing. He just, I said, bro, can you say something to these guys?
Like,
Are you going to pick these guys up somehow? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Dude, the New York, I thought my team was struggling. Bro, there's always somebody that has it worse than you.
Sure.
And in this case,
Sure.
Cincinnati has it worse than Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
Miami has it worse than Tampa. The New York Jets have it
sure.
worse than we do.
Yeah.
So for all the Bucs fans that are cry boo-hooing about our squad, which I thought in the Seattle game they took better strides, but Russell Wilson did what smart quarterbacks do, which is when you know the best defensive back of their team just went down and there's a rookie that's out there, I'm going to pick on this idiot the entire day.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
The Jamel Dean was getting burnt the entire flipping game. And then what killed me, thank you, Todd Bowles, at what point do you just play zone and say, I need to get this guy help? Dude, DK Metcalf is a good wide receiver.
But he went
this
off.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett's a good wide receiver. This man caught 16 passes.
Yeah.
14 of them was when Jamel Dean was on him. When do you challenge your front four and say, I need you to get pressure on this guy because I can't let Russell Wilson keep beating my guy, and then I have no idea what's wrong with this. It's really driving me
I need
nuts.
to update the app. Sometimes it happens to me when the app.
Seriously, I'm gonna update it right now.
Try and update the app, but we'll at the same time, man. The biggest thing right now when it comes to the NFL, it seems as if it's like a game of just survival and let's get to next week. And teams now are just like, we're going to stick to what we do. And I think Todd Bowles is an example of that. It's like, I'm just going to keep playing man because that's what's best for my defense. And then you continue to get burned. Like, you've got to figure a way out, to adjust. And I think Matt Nagy, we have the same problem with Matt Nagy. It's like, dude, you've got to find a way to adjust. Teams are ready. They're ready to, like, the best thing about Bill Belichick and the Patriots is they're ready to switch gears on a dime.
Yes.
If they have to go against everything they just prepared for all week, they're ready to go.
Steven says, in this case, I'd rather be a Bucs fan than a Jets fan. The Bucs will win the Super Bowl before the Jets. That's how you know things are bad in New York.
Yeah.
That's how you know things are bad in New York. And I know, we have our own problems. Do we keep Jameis? Do we not keep Jameis? Bucs fans are saying, like myself, we need a little secondary help. We definitely need an offensive line so Jameis is not getting cracked 5 million times in the goddamn game. That would really help our cause out just a little bit. But this is how you know Bucs fans are on the fence. Jameis damn near played a full flawless game on Sunday against Seattle.
Yeah.
He had the one fumble. Now, here comes Rondé Barber. Oh, looks like Jameis Winston just fumbled the ball on his own. Like, how can you do that? Dumbass. Look at the replay. Donovan Smith is getting pushed in his own quarterback. It's not like Jameis Winston's paying attention. He's thinking his guys are doing the same thing. When he went up, he got his arm hit.
Yeah.
What do the Jameis haters say? Up! There goes the fumble. I knew he couldn't turn it over.
Turnover machine is back.
The man threw 3 TDs and over 300 yards, and the only thing you're talking about is the goddamn fumble, which, oh, by the way, the defense only gave up 3 points on, and we still had the lead at that point. Right. Let's not talk about that, though. Freaking Mo. I swear, dude, my fan base pisses me off to a point of absolute no end. When we blatantly see what the problem is,
and you're still going back to the same old.
You go back and bitch about the same old.
Yeah.
Because this is why I hate. Let me give you a small example.
Yeah.
Let's say you and I had kids, okay? And let's say your kid, it might be more physically gifted as an athlete as my kid, right? And even though I know my kid is special, the whole time I'm sitting there like
oogling at your kid, at my kid.
I'm up there like, damn, Max kid sure can catch the ball.
Right.
Man, I wish my kid can do that. This and that. That's what Bucs fans do. Oh, look at Mahomes. Yeah. Oh, look at Watson.
Yeah, trust me, the Bears do that too. It's so annoying.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you the difference between those guys. Patrick Mahomes got this chance to sit behind and learn the system. Guess what else Patrick Mahomes has? An offensive line that won't get him hit, a running game that's successful. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Got a chance to sit behind. Guess what Aaron Rodgers has? An offensive line that can block and a comparable, a really good running game. What's else? Deshaun Watson. I don't know, his offensive line is here and there, but has a running back that can run the damn ball. Has good coaching staff. Something, what's your name to that? How about the Atlanta Falcons the year that they went to the Super Bowl? What did they have? An offensive line that can block, running backs that can run the ball. Yeah. How about the Carolina Panthers that recently been gone to a couple of Super Bowls? What did they have? An offensive line that can block for Cam Newton, a running back for Cam Newton.
Look at what Carolina's been doing with Kyle Allen. It's all just with McCaffrey and the offensive line.
But you can't tell that to these Buccaneers fans because you get these idiots that come out there and open their mouth. All he does is throw interceptions. All he does is this and that. Now, do I admit, there's some... Okay, this is where I'm getting too emotional about this because I'm biased towards Jameis. Jameis is my favorite quarterback, so I'm biased. Am I upset sometimes when he does stupid nonsense? Yes. Because there's time when I'm yelling at the TV, and I'm like, Jameis, run the ball.
Right.
God bless you. Don't have to throw everything in tight windows.
Yeah.
Take the 6 yards, live for
or just
third
throw it
down.
away. Or just throw it away.
Just throw the damn ball. But yes. But when Bruce Arians in that game against the Titans called out his wide receiver crew and said that Jameis's interceptions weren't necessarily on him, here come the idiot Bucs fans. Oh, of course, another excuse for Jameis. Your own head coach just said, hello, it wasn't their fault. Yeah. Jameis threw the ball where Brashard Perryman was supposed to be. He quit on the route. He threw the ball where Chris Godwin was supposed to be. He stopped the route. He threw perfect passes in that game against Carolina, and Mike Evans dropped the goddamn ball.
Lots of drops.
But yet, all you see is, here's an interception. There's an interception. How about the interception in the first game against Carolina? Why was that a pick? James threw the ball exactly where it was supposed to. Mike Evans never came back for the ball. Guess who did? The defender. What would all the stupid Bucs fans say? Oh, that's all freaking Jameis. Here we go with this BS. Idiots. Yeah. Absolute idiots. Stop worrying about what other teams do. How about we worry what we do? And finally, in week flipping 10, the Buccaneers did what they should have been done, and that's start Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones should have been the starter running back over Peyton Barber, and now they're going to reap the benefits.
Yeah.
So the Bucs have no choice, none, but to bring Jameis back next year. Because what a lot of the Bucs fans that should be smart, that don't understand, do you know that this is the first year that Byron Leftwich has called plays on the Bruce Arians? Right. So first time Brian Leftwich calling plays, plus 1 year of Jameis Winston learning the system means he needs another year so we can reap the benefits. Sure. I understand it's tough not being in the playoffs in 12 years. I understand that. But don't be stupid.
Yeah.
This is why I can only talk to a few Bucs fans, because 85% of our fan base are freaking idiots. And it's hard to find that 15%. I know like 3.
There's a recency bias. There's a recency bias when it comes to football and quarterbacks. It's like if the last week you did an amazing job, I think you're a good quarterback. But last week you threw 2 interceptions, you're no good. I need you to get out of here. Same thing with Mr. Trubisky. I mean, last year when he was throwing 5 touchdowns against teams, everyone in Chicago wanted to believe this guy was the next best thing. Now, just a couple of months later, you're talking about this guy possibly being the worst, quarterback in the NFL. I don't necessarily see that. I think this is a young guy who's unprepared. He only played 1 year at NC. Like, to me, that's not enough football to play.
It's not. And the problem is, here's where Mitch Trubisky gets the unfair hate. The Bears were supposed to be in line to be in the Super Bowl.
Sure.
We're talking about, okay, here's a team that went 12-4 last year. Khalil Mack had a year of all years. Yeah. Mitchell Trubisky should have taken the next step up, and we only lost to the Eagles because of a double doink, right? So now you're thinking the next year everyone's coming in healthy. Okay, we lost Jordan Howard, but we're going to bring in David Montgomery, and he should take over for Howard, and Mitchell's going to take the next step up, and our defense is already flipping great. Yeah. So this should all work in our favor, right? And it hasn't. Why? Because the Bears are dealing with some injuries. The same, you're trying to use Tariq Cohen as a regular running back. He's not that kind of running back. And it's just Mitchell Trubisky can't get out of his own way. Yeah. Like he's made some mistakes, and he's gonna catch hell because you have a Bears team who should probably be more 6-2 in most people's eyes than 3-5, and in the Super Bowl contention and Super Bowl talk, and you're not there. Right. And now who's going to catch the most hell? Because you're not going to blame the defense. Never mind that Akeem Hicks is gone and you keep getting ran all over. Right. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about how Akeem Hicks not being there has stopped Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan from coming up the middle. And now you're going to double Khalil Mack because you're not scared of anybody else.
I'll be honest with you.
And let's not talk about Leonard Floyd, who... Have we heard his name called?
And let's be honest, Nick, Mack has been on a lot more one-on-ones the last few weeks and has not gotten in. No. Let's just say, I saw some people, I read an article that basically said, it was an Athletic article about how the Bears should really seriously consider trading Khalil Mack over the offseason. Listen, I'm not on that boat yet, but it pained me to read that because he was making some pretty good points, which are that right now the Bears' window is rapidly closing, and Khalil Mack's cap hit. I know what you're thinking. I know Khalil Mack's cap hit is pretty significant. And we've only been able to do that because Mr. Trubisky's on his rookie deal. So if you don't have a guy like that, it may make sense to get rid of a guy like Khalil Mack. So we'll see. I will not consider trading him to Florida, the state of Florida, though. So
let's ask for a price. What's the price? We run the 3-4. Yeah. We're probably not going to bring JPP back because it's going to save money. What's the price?
Here's the thing.
You're not going to get the same deal you got from the Raiders. Let's go ahead and throw that out.
It depends what the Bears value more. Do they value a single first-round pick and maybe some late-round picks? Or do they value like multiple second through third-round picks? And
Steven knows what's going on. He said, "Bring him to Tampa." Hell, goddamn right, we will.
Yeah, it's listen, guys. If so the Bears don't turn it around,
Khalil Mack and Shaquille Barrett.
Yeah, Shaq Barrett. Yeah,
with Khalil Mack. Whew. In between Sue, we're gonna re-sign Sue and Vea and Willie Ghostin. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about because I don't
With
want
Devin White coming in with the speed.
I don't want to do that.
Yes.
I don't want to do
yes.
that. No.
Give me the price.
Listen, if the Bears do it though, it better be for a good price. It better not be just a cap dump.
I'll give you a second.
Listen, if I'm the GM, I'm trying to get back multiple first-round picks. But I will be convinced into a first-round pick and a third, 2/3 maybe, or something like that. But to
first
me,
and 2/3, son. I think I can do a first and 2/3. I would do a first and 2/3 because it's going to tie into the next story.
Okay, yeah, no, first and 2/3 to me is decent because here's the scenario where that happens. The Bears lose out or basically only win one of the rest of the games of the season.
So I should really root for the
I was
Bears
going to say, if
game.
you want this to happen, because here's the thing about the Bears. As bad as they are, they're not out of it, right? So if they get a win this week, especially against the Lions, and the Lions are sort of, struggling themselves, the Bears take a step up. We play Green Bay one more time. We play the Vikings one more time. We're not out of it. But this thought process is, shit, if the next 7 weeks don't go very well and we only get one win out of the next couple of weeks, Khalil Mack might be on the Blizzak.
And my God!
And I'm not happy.
Jason Light.
I'm not happy.
I was already on the phone.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's not going to happen right now, right? Obviously, but
I'd shoot him an email.
If the
or text.
be like, we're going to talk in the summer. We're going to talk a little bit later. No, I mean,
I'm talking about as soon as the confetti falls.
We're ready to call. Yeah.
I am already on the phone.
Yeah, it depends how bad the Bears season goes. Now let's say this. Let's say the Bears go 8-8 and it's a disappointing season. I don't think they trade him. I just don't see, because here's the thing. In that scenario, Mitch realistically probably looks better, and that's why the team is going to be winning some games.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem with that scenario, is that you need Mitch to do really well because Mitch's contract is very, very tied into Khalil Mack's, meaning the only reason why the Bears right now are not in serious financial trouble is because they're not paying the quarterback position a ton of money as of yet. So once they have to, or once they have to cut ties with Mitch and try and bring in another quarterback, then we might be put in that position. And as the Godfather says, if you make me an offer I can't refuse, you might have to make it happen, because the franchise as a whole is in big trouble right now. Window's closing.
Okay, this is why I would do it for a first-round pick, and this is only scenario I would do it. Did you hear about, and this is why I hate the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, we both do.
Did you hear about Trent Williams? What's going on with that?
Yes. We talked about it a little bit before the season, but yes. Yeah, oh my God. What a crazy story. What a joke.
They're really not going to pay this man when he had a cancer tumor in his skull?
That they misdiagnosed, by the way. The doctors on the Redskins misdiagnosed it and said, it's minor, Trent. Don't worry. You're going to be playing on Sunday anyways.
So let me make sure I got this straight, okay? Because people might think, Nick, you're overreacting when it comes to the Washington Redskins.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and follow the trend before we start picking games. Let's follow the trend. Washington drafts RG3 when Mike Shanahan said I wanted Ryan Tannehill. Dan Snyder says, F you will draft RG3. RG3's tearing up the league. Tears up his knee. It's good enough to play.
On a shit field, yeah.
Probably shouldn't have played.
Yeah.
You go in a playoff game, it's been raining in D.C. all flipping week. And you have the balls to put this man out, and this man hurt his knee so bad that you could almost literally damn near see the knee separate itself from the leg. So you almost sabotage this man's career. Then you fire that jackass Mike Shanahan. You bring in an even dumber jackass in freaking whatever his name is, Jay Gruden. And then when RG3 was begging for his team to actually play for him, you bring your stupid dumbass up on the podium and said, well, my quarterback needs to learn to play quarterback when he's out here getting smashed by his own offensive lineman. Okay, we'll just ignore that. Then you got your stupid ass fired because you couldn't even win a flipping football game. So they fired your dumb ass. And now, after all this time, I've been talking about how stupid the Washington Redskins and how Dan Snyder should just pretty much at this point give up on running the Washington Redskins because he's got a lot to do with the problems that's in there.
For sure.
You misdiagnosed this man with a brain tumor that was cancerous, and you ain't finna give him his bread.
And for 4 years, by the way, this was when the doctors first noticed this of the Redskins was close to 5 years ago, and they basically told him it was nothing but a cosmetic thing.
So let me play the role of Jason Light as general manager. This is a no-brainer. The Buccaneers apparently, for a team that damn near had no salary cap last year, are going to go into the season with almost $80 million under the cap.
But that's because Jameis's semi-big contract's coming off the books. Who else is going to be coming off the books? JPP. Sue only signed for a 1-year deal. What about the left tackle? No, Donovan Smith, you guys
re-signed.
No,
we re-signed him. DeMar Dotson to be off the books. Mike Evans has tweaked his contract so much that it doesn't hurt us.
Yeah.
And we're still going to have to pay Godwin and some of these other guys. But the big contracts that are coming off, the Bucs are going to have some crazy $80 million in cap space. This isn't even a no-brainer. Trent, leave that POS Washington. I will pay you. I just want you to do one thing, please. Please protect my quarterback. Okay? And then we're going to take Donovan Smith and we're going to move him to the right side so we can get rid of DeMar Dotson's stupid ass, who for the 3rd time this year cost the Buccaneers a touchdown. Jameis Winston runs a touchdown. Let's go back to week 1 against San Francisco.
Yeah.
In the same drive, DeMar Dotson was called for holding twice on touchdowns. He did the same thing in, I guess, the same conference team on Sunday when he held Jadeveon Clowney on a play where Jameis Winston ran for a touchdown. We had to settle for 3. Get his ass out of that offensive line.
Yeah. Especially
Man, I'm fired up, dude. This is a
2.
no-brainer. Our Trent Williams, for the love of God, here's a blank check. Sign it. I'll even give you restitution because Washington's freaking idiots. I will give you the signing bonus. I will give you the signing bonus as a signing bonus. The money they were owed to you, I will give that to you. And then come protect my quarterback. Donovan, I love you. You're now on the right side. DeMar, get your stupid ass out of here. Get all your crap. I'm on the phone with the Bears.
Yeah.
What's the price? I want Khalil.
Let me ask you, though, if we're going to be talking about this with at least 1% of realism, I have to ask you, you're going to try and resign Jameis.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to tag Jameis.
Okay, which is what, 25? That's close to $30 million right there, right? See, that's the problem. That's the problem that you run into
so much
with
money with these tags.
And that's the problem with the quarterback in specific is if you want to tag your guy, you're more than likely going to be paying $10 to $15 million more than you would if you just structured a deal.
Well, we'll structure a deal.
Okay, so if you're going to structure a deal, that's still what, 20, let's say 20 to 25 million a year, right?
Okay. So if we're walking with 80,
yeah.
80 minus 25, that's 55.
55.
Okay,
you're going to have to. Trent Williams is a good $15 million offensive lineman.
So that's 40.
That's 40.
How much did y'all think about Khalil Mack?
So Khalil's deal is actually it's going to get higher. That's the problem with it. So let me double check it for you so that we're accurate. But
and let me do this because what I would do with Khalil Mack is
restructure.
Bingo. Let me make some of that signing bonus, homie.
That's possible, but here's the thing with his contract, okay? Oh man, this is crazy to look at. So he signed a 6-year, $141 million deal. Okay. So I know it sounds tough already. The average salary is around $23.5 million a year. That's essentially what you're going to be paying for Jameis.
So you said I was at 40. You said 23.5.
Yeah. So
that puts me at 17.
Let's just tell you, next year his base salary is around $13 million.
Okay, we're going.
And his signing bonus is around $8 million. So he's going to make next year around $21 million.
Okay,
but the following year, he's going to be making 17 on his base and 8 on the signing. That's going to make him, basically by the end of this deal, by 2022, he's going to be making close to $30 million a year with some of the dead cap and just the way that they structured the deal. So next year's looking okay. Next year you could probably swing it, but if you're going to bring in, you already have a pretty if you're going to bring in Trent Williams, you're going to sign into a multi-year deal.
Yes, of course.
So you're going to bring in Khalil, you're going to keep him on a multi-year deal, and then we already talked about Jameis. So you're looking at basically using up all $80 million in those three players.
And I still got to re-sign Chris Godwin.
Got to re-sign Chris Godwin, and also you start to have to think about what you're going to do with that defense. You need to throw money at the defense. You got to bring in some secondary help. You got to bring in some offensive line help. It's going to be interesting.
I still have a first-round pick.
Here's what I would say.
Here's what
I would say. Choose one of those two. Who is more important right now for you? Getting a guy like both re-signing Jameis and getting Trent, or just getting Khalil and taking your chances with maybe a short-term bridge deal with Jameis, but no Trent Williams? Because I'll tell you, dude.
Option B.
Khalil,
Option B.
I love Khalil.
Option
but
B.
The last 3 games have been brutal to watch for him. He has been pretty invisible.
I'm taking option B because I may not have that first round pick though.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's the game that you play, the game of carousel. Yeah, and I shouldn't have even put it out into the universe that Matt get traded.
No, hell no. I'm glad you did.
But yeah, no, that was something that I read earlier this week. I'm not exactly a huge fan. Let's just jump into the 12 o'clock window and talk about it.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah,
I am going to figure out how I'm gonna bring Khalil Mack to Tampa. Mm-hmm. I'll take him off your hands.
Sure.
So because I know he's looked like a shell of himself, so I'll take him off your hands, okay? And I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah, I could see the Buccaneers being one of the candidates to do it because they've got a lot of contributing players that are still on rookie deals right now, and then with Jameis, if you can convince, because the last thing you wanted, not the last thing you wanted, that's a bad way to put it, but if Jameis had a tremendous season this year, and let's just say Jameis threw for close to 40 touchdowns, he's looking at a Dak-like extension.
I know.
So you're sort of playing a game here where it's like, if Jameis plays well enough, we're gonna have to pay the dude, because if he has a really good rest of the season, he's gonna go out into the free agency next year and he's gonna have 4 or 5 teams bidding for him. But again, it depends on how he plays. But go crunch the numbers and figure that out for us. See if it's possible. See if it's possible. Because at the end of the day,
I have this GM shirt on. Now I got my GM brain on.
Yeah, please. At the end of the day, if the Bears lose out for the rest of the season, which again,
I'm about to pray for right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna be rooting against the Bears the rest of the season. But that's something that was very keen in the article, which is that this whole scenario is based on the Bears basically shitting the bed for the rest of the season. Let's hope the Bears don't do that.
Steven says, hands down, I am way better than Joe Bucks. Congratulations, dude.
Anybody's better.
Matt, you know what? You have never heard me call games before. You will be vastly entertained.
A wailing baby's a better. But here's the thing. I said this, I think, during our live show too. For some reason, I don't mind him during baseball. I don't like him during football at all.
Because I feel like he takes the topic and just beats the dead horse.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of it is like this clever kind of like trying little clever quips on.
And then Troy sometimes doesn't help out either.
And Troy, I'm convinced that Troy smokes weed. Because to me, Troy Aikman is like all over the place. Some days you're like, wow, Troy Aikman sounds like he really knows what the fuck he's talking about. Some days he's like getting numbers wrong. Dude, he was getting names wrong into the fourth quarter a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Joe Buck, but for some reason when he's got John Smoltz near him in the playoffs, I think he's okay to listen to. It's just football, he's unbearable. Let's just jump into the Sunday window because there's 7 games. Go ahead, sorry, you got it. Yeah.
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the reason why I want to jump into it is because the first game is going to be the Lions-Bears game this week. So the Bears with a crucial is not even a way to put it right now. Like this might be your season. So right now the Bears are home favorites. I believe 3-point favorites. Mm-hmm. So Vegas likes the Bears to sort of come up the rear, so to speak. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Lions not really playing that well lately. I don't know what it is, but for some reason I was really surprised to see the Bears were favored in this game.
You know what I think it is too? So the reason why Matt Patricia was brought into Detroit was because he was supposed to be this defensive guru.
Genius, yeah.
Detroit's defense, for all the moves that they made,
still pretty.
They're still pretty bad. And the thing is, with I know they brought in Darius. I mean, not brought in, but they had Darius Slay.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in Snacks. You drafted Gerard Davis.
Signed Flowers from New England.
Flowers. And you're still giving up a lot of points and stuff. Yeah. And when a lot of people are like, oh damn, the Detroit Lions lost Kerryon Johnson potentially for the rest of the year with whatever injury he has, I was thinking to myself, like, well, wait a minute. The Matt Stafford for a year and a half didn't have a running back that ran for over 100 yards in a game.
Right.
So it's not like it's the end of the world. Like Matt Stafford doesn't know how to throw the ball 50 times and throw for 400 yards like he did last week.
And by the way, he looks amazing. Let's put it out there. For some reason, Stafford, when he throws it 50 or 60 times, he looks good.
Yeah.
He looks efficient, looks good, making the throws, but that's not how the Lions win.
Exactly. So I mean, this goes against everything we just talked about for the last 20 minutes. But I'm going to go with Chicago. Low key, I'm hoping that Detroit wins. So.
Yeah.
Each loss that the Bears have is one step closer to Khalil Mack coming to town.
Yeah. I put that seed in. I planted that seed tonight.
And at some point tonight, I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah, please. And also, I do want to see you crunch the numbers on that, because if you guys pull that off, you might be looking at a pretty nice little.
And let me say this too. Just pay attention to the stats. Because Bears fans are going to absolutely flip their lid.
Yes, I
You're
can't wait.
You're an idiot. Hold on, man.
I started.
I'm just saying what I heard.
I created a monster, baby.
And if from through the grapevine, I heard that maybe the Bears should move on from Khalil. Like blood in the water, like a shark smelling blood in the water. Yeah. I am going to jump for a team that runs to 3-4.
I'm going to run with it.
Hell right.
Here's the thing, though, with Khalil. When he has help, the defense looks amazing.
Right.
When he has to do it by himself, he's invisible.
Yeah.
And I want to find a medium there. I want to find a medium where we talked about earlier in the show. There was a lot more one-on-one matchups on Khalil Mack during that Eagles game. A lot more.
Yeah.
And we didn't see him.
Nope.
So, to me, man, the Bears are in a position where they're like, okay, we're coming off of now essentially a 4-game losing streak after beating remember the feeling when they beat the Vikings?
Yeah.
It was like, wow, we beat the Vikings and we're back. Fuck it, we're back.
And we're 3-1 right now.
We're 3-1. Now you're looking down the barrel of a gun, and if you don't think quickly, you might be ending your season here. I agree with you, though. I got the Bears in this game. I think the defense is going to step up.
I think so.
I think right now the defense not having to worry about the running game as much with them. I think if they had Kerryon, this might be a tough matchup.
True.
But I think now the Bears thinking, well, we don't really have to worry too much about what T.J. Johnson and J.D. McKissick. Fine, have that. But at the end of the day, I think the Bears have enough right now to make this happen. I think David Montgomery has looked the last couple of weeks, and call me crazy, but I think Mitch Trubisky might have an okay game this game.
I think so too.
This is the secondary to do it against, and I think Matt Nagy's going to have a game plan to make it really easy.
But
for
if
him.
he struggles, though,
it might be time for
man,
some Chase Daniel.
Mitch he's going to have to step the game up. This would be the game.
Yeah, I would agree to say, listen, any team that drops down to 3-6.
Yeah.
They're going to have some thoughts. You're going to have to start to think, okay, 3-6 is like we're one game away from that's it. So, what I'm talking about with the season and why this game is so important is that if the Bears want to have a productive season and possibly try to make the playoffs this year and be a contender, they've got to win this game.
Right.
I've got them winning though, so we'll see what happens. The next 12:00 game, the Baltimore Ravens, aforementioned Lamar Jackson looked amazing last week, and we'll have the 6-2 Ravens visiting the hapless. Are they 0-8? Yeah, the 0-8 Cincinnati Bengals. We don't even have to spend too much time on this one.
Baltimore and whatever points they're getting.
Baltimore,
yeah,
will win, and they're getting 10, by the way. Baltimore right now looks amazing to their defense. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I think that's going to be a blowout. Another 12:00 game. We got the Bills. This is a pretty interesting matchup, Nick. The Bills 6-2 defense. Still a game changer. Still a pretty heavy hitting defense against the struggling Cleveland Browns. 2-6 are the Browns. They're already sort of in the territory where it's like we might have to just wrap this bitch up because we're 2-6 right now. By the way, Cleveland 2.5 point favorites in this one, Nick. Can you believe that? I know they're in the dog pound, but 2.5 point favorites. Have you ever seen a 2-6 team be 2.5 point favorites of a 6-2 team? That's kind of crazy to me. But yeah, we'll see. Right now, I think the consensus is that Olivier Vernon will not play. Yeah, so he's out for the game. So Cleveland a little bit shorthanded at home against the Bills. Who you got?
You said the Browns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I maybe.
You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is? I think that Vegas is not. They see kind of what I'm seeing with Josh Allen.
Yup. That may be it.
Like, he's good, but like, bro, stop throwing off your back foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
2.5 points, but still 2.5 point favorites.
That's crazy. I'm taking Buffalo plus the 2.5. I think that's almost the Week 10 shoe-in of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the official pen, the Oso Negro pen. What is on this? Prentice Creek Apartments.
Yes, sir.
Pick of the week. Buffalo plus the 2.5. I don't like Cleveland. They're struggling. This is that time where I feel like you got to go out. You got to take Buffalo. Buffalo's got to run the ball. There's got to be what's the kid's name? You sound like Mel Kiper. That's right. You got to have that Singletary. Singletary's a good guy. Yeah, Josh Allen has to be mistake free.
Yeah.
If he plays mistake free, they're gonna win. I just don't trust Baker Mayfield. Nick Chubb fumbles the ball way too much.
Put your money on him.
Put your money on Buffalo. Kareem Hunt's supposed to be coming back. I think, is it this week or next week?
It is this week.
So you're gonna have Kareem Hunt back, but I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Do you know, bro? Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find something, bro. Let me tell you how bad. Hold on. I'm gonna come out of here real quick.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you how bad the Odell Beckham Jr. has been.
Oh my God, yeah.
God, I gotta find this.
And while you're finding it, a lot has been made about Baker Mayfield coming out in the media and saying, "I'm going to force feed Odell," and essentially saying, "I'm gonna when you got a quarterback who doesn't realize that the reason why he's doing so shit is because he's force feeding guys, coming out after being 2-6 and saying, I'm gonna force feed my best player." That's not good. That's not a good thing for, I think the Baker Mayfield is running his game is running really thin on a lot of people, including me. Like I used to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, man, he's a little quirky, a little weird, but the guy is he's a winner and he'll be fine. And I think the Browns will be fine this year. And every game he loses, he's just coming out and looking like more of a sour ass than the last. So I agree though. Odell, man. And, by the way, speaking of the trade rumors,
I'm listening.
There's a lot of people saying that Dorsey in Cleveland already kicked the tires on it before the deadline and basically told teams, if we have a terrible season, call me in the offseason about Odell. So there's apparently. You never know with Odell because he's got so many haters, but apparently, things behind the scenes haven't been going so well. Odell apparently just isn't really immersing himself into Cleveland,
right?
And into the team itself. So I think John Dorsey just for almost insurance, kicked the tires on trading him before the deadline, but nothing came out of it. And I think, like I said, from the source that I read, he apparently told teams, if we have a terrible season, call me in the offseason because
crap,
will
I
be
can't find it, dude. Mm-hmm. There was a picture of 9 backup/bench players that actually have more touchdowns than Odell Beckham.
Yeah, it's been pretty
bad.
bad.
Of them was that, I know one that stuck out of my head was the O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy. Yeah. Oh my God, he's a tight end.
Has more touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's how bad.
Taylor Gabriel, I think, has more touchdowns than Odell right now. So
yeah, dude. If I come across that picture,
please
I'm going to
send it.
Please send it to me.
Yeah.
It is one of the guys from. I think one of the Giants players, actually has more touchdowns.
That's
so
crazy.
The team that you got
probably
traded
Slayton,
for,
that guy Darius Slayton.
it might have been who was.
Yeah.
It's awful. So yeah, play your money.
And by the way, I think Buffalo's just a better team. I think I think Josh Allen will figure it out, but I also think right now he's going to want to prove it against a team like this. What a good time to do it. The Chiefs. Jesus Mahomes is back.
Yes, he
Hallelujah.
is. Yes, he
Hallelujah
is.
to my 4 fantasy teams that had him and were stashing players just because I couldn't play him. Yes, Kansas City. What a job Matt Moore did. I mean, like
they did Mr. B.
It's gonna go untold, but everyone kept clowning KC like Matt Moore was coaching high school before he came to dude. Matt Moore looked amazing, and it's got to make you if you're a Bears fan, and honestly, and there's a couple other teams that can say this, it makes you feel bad. Like my starter can't get a 10-yard out route.
Meanwhile,
Matt Moore's
throwing four touchdowns against the vaunted Vikings defense.
And by the way, 6 weeks ago he was coaching high school football and doing a bunch of other stuff. So, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the road against Tennessee. Tennessee, 4-5, just staying in it. We talk about them ad nauseum.
Right.
All they do is win a game here, lose 2 games there, look really really good here for 2 games, look terrible for 1 game. But this is a pretty interesting matchup because a lot of people are wondering if maybe Kansas City is rushing back Patrick. The way that Matt Moore looked.
Why?
Right? So.
And let's tell me Matt Moore can't beat the Tennessee Titans?
I think here's the thing though. When they come out and say, yes, he's playing, that's what makes me believe because here's the thing, we talk about it every week, their defense is just terrible.
Yeah,
and they can't trust, even if Matt Moore is doing so well, and oh my God, Travis Kelce's back, and oh my God, Damian Williams is back. He was invisible for weeks, and now Damian Williams all of a sudden is like their starter again, and Shady McCoy, they don't even need him anymore. So to me, I think it was a lack of trust in their defense more than anything else. So, and by the way, Tennessee's really shorthanded this week. They're not going to have Corey Davis. They're not going to have Delaney Walker. No Jarrell Casey. No Jayon Brown. I got Kansas City in this one. Kansas City 6-point favorites.
By a landslide.
It's gonna be a pretty nice game to come back to for Jesus Mahomes. Let's get to the Atlanta Falcons. Some NFC South action, dude. Maybe we can just spend an hour. It's the New Orleans Saints, the 7-1 New Orleans. Let's take an hour to talk about this game if you want.
All right, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. They suck right now. They're coming off the bye week. Matt Ryan may or may not play. I don't think Matt Ryan's playing.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's playing either. Drew Brees. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Their defense is really great. Really, really, really
Alvin
great.
Kamara's back.
Yeah, dude.
It's going to be an easy one.
It's an easy one.
It's going to be an easy one.
Yeah, so give me the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, and by the way, it's 6-point favorites are the 13.5 point. I was going to say 6 points crazy. 13.5 favorites are the Santos.
13.5.
The Battle of the Meadowlands is happening Sunday at noon as the New York Giants, the Jets make the Giants look like the Patriots. It's like, we were talking about how bad the Jets were. A lot of people were expecting the Giants to be in this position, right? Everyone expected it would be the tables were turned. We would be clowning the Giants and praising the Jets.
There needs to be a drinking game for this. Every time you see Adam Gase on the sidelines with that blank stare and his arms folded, you got to take a drink. I'm guaranteeing you are smoked out you are falling.
You're gonna
out
have alcohol poisoning by the second quarter.
Yeah,
by the second quarter.
Because all you're gonna see him doing this.
And the worst part is, remember during his press conference where he looked like this? It's like I wish that guy was there on Sundays. At least he looks more attentive.
And think about it like this. This guy who used to be the Bears' offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I know. And quite frankly, the Bears were very close, by the way. I don't know if a lot of people know this. The Bears were very close to just promoting him and firing John Fox at the time. And even Mark Trestman to a certain extent was a part of that too. They loved Adam Gase, and they didn't want him to walk. And when he walked to the Dolphins, I think a lot of people were sad in the Bears organization. I think we maybe dodged a bullet on that.
Like, all right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is from dodging that Adam Gase bullet we almost took. I mean, I know we look bad now, but we don't look like 1-7 jackasses right now. Bam. Take it back.
I'll make this one easy for you guys too. I got the Giants in this one.
I got the Giants too, man. I mean, and what's so disappointing now is when you sit back and you look at Dallas.
I know.
Dude, they legit came out thinking that they were just going to walk all over the Jets, and somehow they figured out a way to play football, and then within 2 weeks, they're like, well, that was our Super Bowl.
I guess we're done.
Guess we're done here. Sure, ain't no reason to keep on playing from this point out. Man, all right, thank you, Dallas, for giving us our one win.
Yeah, we'll take that win.
At least we're not as bad as Cincinnati Bengals, but, man.
We'll see what happens to Adam Gase after they lose this week. It'll be 1-8. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
the Jets losing makes for good rating on the fan.
Oh, it does, yeah.
It's the same way with the Bears,
team,
too.
yeah, exactly.
When they lose,
dude, I love. I might be a masochist, a little bit self-hating in that way, but people are like, I can't even turn on the radio or the whatever. I actually love the radio media. Watching media, I don't watch ESPN about the Bears. I don't watch the Comcast stuff. But the radio is so good. All the dumb people calling and just you got like 74-year-old Patrick. I haven't missed a game since 1962.
Let's talk about that for a second. Jim in Bentonville, what's going on? All right, guys. Hey guys, long time, first time. So what do you guys think about us trading for Taysom Hill? I know the only...
Yeah, I know. Listen, I know he's only...
Oh, Christ, dude. It was like, I legit listened to this on Waddle and Sylvie. I was crying so hard.
That's so hilarious.
Maybe we should go out there and trade for Taysom. No, it wasn't. It was...
Teddy?
No, what's the other one? Yurko and Carmen DeFalco.
Oh, okay.
It was like, I think we should go out and trade for Taysom Hill.
Oh, my God.
I know he's only, every time he throws a pass, he completes it, and I think he'd be a much better quarterback.
He throws 3 passes a game.
This man has only thrown 8 passes his entire career,
That's so hilarious.
And Bears fans are calling it ESPN for Taysom Hill over Mitchell Trubisky. Are you kidding me?
You don't even have to think that far back until.
Oh my God!
Remember during the live show at Reps when somebody asked us whether or not Chase Daniels was a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky and whether or not he was the chosen one? It's like, dude, you guys don't really understand how football works.
Everyone is still stuck on Chase Daniel and how good he was when he was in Missouri.
Yeah.
Do you know how long ago that was?
I know. And he didn't do much in Kansas City. He sat down behind Drew Brees in New Orleans. His best accolade is that he's backed up really good quarterbacks.
Before we keep on going, Christian Randall wants to know any predictions for this year's MLB Hot Stove and which player who's going to get traded this offseason.
Ooh-wee. It's Hot Stove time officially, too. I will say this. Garrett Cole's going to the Yankees.
Bingo! Yes, yes, yes. And if he does, CC Sabathia strikes again for New York. Where I read, and I was like, I'm thinking to myself, damn, he's really probably going to go to L.A., the Angels or whatever, right?
A lot of people are saying he's from the West. That's blown out of proportion.
That's what he said. He said, hey, look, just because I'm from the West Coast don't mean that I'm just going to go there.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. It makes sense. I will say this, though. When Madden comes back, when Madden gets to the Angels, though, it makes sense. But do they have the money to spend right now? They're still paying Pujols. They're still paying Upton. They're still paying a bunch of these other guys.
They're still playing Trout.
Trout, yeah. And Shohei's going to get paid, too, very soon. So,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the Yankee fans should hold some hope. CC Sabathia, when he was a free agent, is from L.A. himself.
Oh, okay.
But the Yankees came in, paid him money, and he was like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
New York, fuck
it. All I did was win a World Series and a couple Cy Youngs.
Yeah, sure.
And that's what I'm thinking he's telling, what's his name?
Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole, yeah. He's like, look, okay, yeah, L.A. might be a fun destination and everything, but if you want to win.
Right. Go to New York, yeah.
Go to New York.
And on top of that, I mean, let's be honest. The product with the Yankees right now is really high. That game they lost against Houston, it's a tough game to lose. One pitch, Chapman gives up, that's really tough. But they were really close. And if you're Garrett, by the way, Houston now apparently is saying they're going to throw their name into the hat for Cole as well. I don't know how competitive they can be. I think a lot of their pitch is going to be like, you saw what it was like in Houston. We were that close. Come back and we'll take care of you. But if you want the money, you're gonna see that a lot more on the market, including there's a couple of other teams. By the way, the Padres now
hired Larry
Rothschild, and they're also in the driver's seat because they've got a lot of money to spend. Apparently, the whole Manny Machado thing opened up the well for them, so they may be thinking about Garrett Cole too.
And Giancarlo Stanton threw his name in the mix, but he said, "I want Cole and Strasburg."
Wow.
See, this is the thing about the Yankees, and we're gonna get back into football. And we'll talk a little bit more sure. What you call it, but here's the thing about New York. I think what happens is somebody comes to Cashman with a suggestion. Then Cashman looks at the money and how does this team help out. Then Cashman goes to Hal, who's signing the checks, and says, this could work out for us. And Hal says, okay, I'll sign the check.
Sure.
If Cashman doesn't go to Hal, it's not going to happen. Look at DJ LeMahieu. Brian Cashman had no intentions of signing him until people came to him and said, you might want to take a look at him. And then he said, okay, and then went to Hal and said, okay, and Hal said, okay, and DJ LeMahieu, who, oh, by the way, got screwed out of this MVP.
Yeah, he did.
How in the sand blue hell is Marcus Semien a better MVP candidate to DJ LeMahieu on a team who was injured all year, won 103 games.
Carried them for 2.5 months. That's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, I was very surprised to see what he ended up with. He ended up, I'm pretty sure right now, the voting to me right now is got to be close because, either way, what LeMahieu did in that first 2.5 months, basically carrying the Yankees while they were limping, I think is enough to get you there. Also, another interesting one, Anthony Rendon right now, obviously, there's a lot of speculation surrounding him. There's also a lot of people saying he might go back to Washington. A lot of people saying the Dodgers are going to throw their name into the hat. The White Sox right now are kicking the tires on a couple of different players.
Christian is saying Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts, there's a lot of because JD Martinez did opt back in.
Yeah.
So now JD Martinez will not be a free agent and he'll be back with Boston. And apparently Boston right now with that new guy Chaim Bloom from Tampa Bay.
Yep.
They're very hell-bent on cutting salary this year. They're not fucking around. They know that they're going to have to sign Mookie to a big deal, and they don't really seem willing to do that. If the White Sox can really, I don't know what we'd have to give up. If we don't have to give up anything too crazy, I would have to say that would be a game changer for us, man, because you need that type of guy.
Yeah. And then Christian also says Lindor to the Dodgers.
I was also thinking because Didi, by the way, is
there's a good chance he's out. And they didn't re-sign him, but supposedly the Padres are very interested in him.
Got it. So my thought process, honestly, with Lindor was that makes sense for New York.
It really does.
It makes a lot of sense for New York to just bring in Lindor, really easy transition, him and Torres up the middle for the next 10 years. Wow.
And then the Yankees have a bigger issue to now figure out what are you going to do on your two corners. Because on the left side, you have Gio Urshela, who had a pretty solid year, even though I think he kind of cooled off, but maybe he went from hot to lukewarm. But he had a couple of big hits, especially in the LCS. But you have him, and you know that his glove is money.
Right.
But then you still have Miguel Andujar, who's coming off of shoulder surgery. And then you have DJ LeMahieu, who, oh, by the way, can play both sides.
Does Andujar play first at all?
Not really.
Okay.
I
was going to say, if Andujar plays first, you might be able to get away with a rotation of Andujar, LeMahieu, and Urshela, but you would still need something up the middle like Lindor.
Easily. Right. And here's another thing. So what that leads to me is what's going to happen at first base, because Greg Bird, as far as I'm concerned, is no longer a Yankee. The man can't stay healthy while he's out there.
Yeah.
Luke Voigt
Oh, yeah. He had a really good season.
Tailed off so hard in the last 2 months. I think it was because of injury. He had a core injury, and I don't think he ever recovered.
Those are really tough in baseball.
Right. And then LeMahieu actually played decent first base for the last 2 weeks going into the playoffs. So the Yankees have a lot of moves to make. I don't see them putting LeMahieu at second, even though he played second in Colorado. I don't see them putting him there. I'll give you another name that I think is a free agent this year that the Yankees could bring back. How about Starlin Castro? Now, I know you had to throw him in there for the Giancarlo deal.
Yeah.
But I like Starlin Castro. I still think he has a decent bat. I don't know where his defense might necessarily be at, but I thought he was a talent wasted away in a rebuilding year in Miami. So why not somehow maybe...
Now, is Giancarlo safe in your mind?
Yes. He should not be traded.
Not a shot he's traded.
He should not be traded. And any Yankees fan that's asking for Giancarlo Stanton to be traded
just for being hurt.
are idiots. Yeah, because, dude, you didn't bring back Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah.
And B, I thought Aaron Boone locked too hard on Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah.
Even if Giancarlo Stanton wasn't hitting, Edwin was not getting the same pitches that Giancarlo was. Giancarlo was making an impact in there. You could tell Edwin was hurt from the wrist, the way he was swinging the bat.
Right.
Edwin Encarnacion is usually a guy that holds on to the bat when he swings. After the wrist injury, he kept letting it go. That means he's not healthy.
True.
Which means that you should have played Giancarlo.
Yeah.
I would rather play a 55 to 60% Giancarlo in the DH position than a maybe 80% Edwin Encarnacion who can't hit.
What was his injury again, Giancarlo? Was it a lower?
It was the quad.
Quad. Okay. That's tough to say because the wrist and the quad are both very important to hitting, right? The wrist maybe more so because you've got to have control of your wrist in order to have control of the bat. Yeah, I'm with you on that, though. I was just wondering what you thought about the Giancarlo stuff.
Christian says, do you guys think that either Machado or Bryce Harper ever wins a World Series? And how about Chris Bryant to the Yankees to play third base?
You'd have to give up something for him, though, right? If it were Chris Bryant.
Well, Chris Bryant didn't re-up with the Cubs.
Yeah, but he's, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's still under arbitration. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to check out. I'm pretty sure he's still under team control. I'm almost positive that he's not unrestricted this year. I think you would have to give up some, because I was looking into it for the White Sox, honestly, because I was thinking, man, we need a third baseman. Why not?
Right.
But to me, the thing about specifically that I think about Machado and Harper is that people are really overdoing the whole "you'll never win it ever because of this and your contract ruined the team," and it's like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I couldn't.
It was they both got paid. The teams that they got paid from did not have great seasons.
Right.
Now the Padres are apparently opening up the pocketbook and are going to try and do some things, and they've got a pretty good batch of young players in San Diego, so I think they'll be fine. And in Philadelphia, I mean, they're not that bad. Philadelphia was not that far off.
And I thought them hiring Joe Girardi was a very smart
move and gave you a veteran guy for a team that's relatively right now. I don't necessarily think that either one of them are World Series favorites next year, but to say that like you guys ruined the franchise because of your contracts and you'll never win anything, no, I'm not on that boat because I think the money, when you're talking about money in baseball, Nick, it's way different.
True.
Money in baseball is either you have it or you don't.
Right.
It's not like, oh, we've got to meet $20 million to get our cap. No, there's no cap, bro. Like you either can spend the money or you can't. So the $200 million, people act like it's coming out of their pocket. First of all, people act like it's like my tax dollar. Like people first of all, people love to say that in general, right? Nobody says shit about tax. Yeah, nobody says shit about tax dollars until it's time to like yell at the police or say something bad about people on public aid or something like that. It's like, I paid tax dollars and I don't want those damn Mexicans to get my... It's like, dude, you don't even know where your tax dollars go to, and you're not even talking about it 90% of the time, but now Mexican looked at you wrong, and now you want to talk about how he's on public assistance and you're paying his taxes or whatever?
Ridiculous.
Anyways, I think...
Yeah, my me paying $500 for this front row seat. Yeah. Pay for you to hit the ball.
Now
hit the goddamn ball.
And learn to speak English. Yeah, that's another thing.
Which is even worse.
I'm starting to see that now. It's so funny to see that.
Masahiro Tanaka's been with the Yankees for like 5 years. Could not give a rat's ass.
Look at you, Darvish.
That he still speaks.
Yeah, you,
Japanese.
Darvish, dude. He's technically supposed to be speaking English. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I don't really care.
Okay, I got an interpreter right here that I paid millions of dollars.
I think the problem is the Americans think that that English is a universal language, and in a way it is, but in a way it isn't either. So,
have you been to Montreal recently?
Oh yeah, no,
they're not switching out French because
Canada's a great example because I worked in between two cities. One was Montreal and one was Ottawa.
Yeah,
and you go to one side and it's like going to like Minnesota, and the other side's going like France, and then you go over here and it's like going to hockey town, and over there it's like they're talking about college, football and stuff. It's crazy, man. Yeah, English, dude, we're just scratching the surface with English.
Oh, speaking of which, before we go back into football,
yes,
I don't know if you ever saw this story. I saw it yesterday. It kind of touched my heart. You know the big Indian super fan that's with Toronto?
Yes, yeah, I forgot his name, yeah.
There was a story about him. Supposedly, so you know that he migrated, I forget what country.
It was India. I think it was India.
He migrated from India to Canada. And I guess he had some kind of degree, but whatever degree he had really didn't mean anything.
It never transferred over.
So then he ended up learning how to sell cars.
Wow.
And he sold, in 1 year, 124 cars, which was almost 3 times the person that was in second. Wow. So then he went and got his own dealership, and now he's worth $60 million.
Wow.
So when the Toronto Raptors became a squad, he became a super fan.
Right.
I guess somebody made a racist tweet when they were playing Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals. And when they just played Milwaukee recently, I guess he went to Milwaukee, found the guy, they had lunch, bought him tickets so they could sit front row at the game, and now they become best friends.
That's,
See, that, and the reason why I tell this story, because in our country, it's so easy to be like, oh, wow.
He's canceled. It's it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. He's a camel rider. Oh, man. And it's so easy to sit here and make all these unnecessary, racist-ass comments about people in their other ethnicities, and for somebody on either side to fall off the handle.
Yeah.
This is a great example of sometimes we as Americans can be really misinformed about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you see, the media feeds you ABC and you fall for ABC.
Yeah.
But how about, what if I told you that maybe, let me show you DEF right quick.
Right, yeah.
And now we all ain't so bad.
Sure.
See, the problem I have, and I know we're getting off sports here.
No, I love this.
The problem that I have is there are bad apples in every bunch, in every race.
If humankind, there's bad humans mixed among us. We all know that. And yeah, no, I my big thing with that, Nick, is that guy, the superfan, had every reason to say, fuck that guy.
Yes.
I'm never going to see him. He's a piece of shit, and I don't want anything to do with him. And he didn't do that.
And he could have went on to social media and blasted.
He could have done more. He could have called the Bucks and said, I don't want him in the building.
Bingo.
He could have done a lot of things. But, that's another thing that I'm starting to really realize, Nick, is, we talk about cancel culture. I think we talked about it on this show before. I think it was one of my solo shows where I said something about Dave Chappelle, and a lot of people wanted to cancel Dave Chappelle because of some of the things he said. And I think as this country, we've become so punitive. It's like, if you don't know, if you do something bad, I need to punish you now.
Right.
And I think it's so counterproductive. And I think what that super fan did was, he took somebody that probably was talking shit about Indian people and people he probably doesn't even know. I mean, here's the really deeply embedded story in this story. Canada has a really big problem with South Asian, Indians, Desis, brown people from that region because there's a lot of Indians in Canada that have migrated. By the way, over 100 years ago, Indians, Desis was what they call them, and Pakistani, Bangladesh, all of those guys have been in Canada for over 100 years.
Right.
So they're just as part of Canada as anything.
Right.
And just like in our country, Canada has this very strong subsect that feels like there shouldn't be so many Indians in that country. And I think what that super fan did was sit down and have lunch with somebody who probably for the last couple decades has been talking with his friends and saying we don't need these guys in here. And really he's spreading that virus every day, right? When he goes to see a guy who's on the fence, he's like, nah, I got a couple Indian buddies. Like they're fine with me. But when that guy comes up to you and says, nah, fuck these Indians, man, they're taking this and they're taking that, he's spreading this virus. And what that guy did, and I want to find out his name so we can say before the end of the podcast, is he cut that off.
Yep.
He cured that virus
Yep.
by saying, I don't, quite frankly, I don't, and I'm the same way too. You really can't hurt my feelings with anything you can say. I've been called everything in the book by now. There's nothing that's going to make me go, oh my God, man, why would you say that to me? There's nothing that can make me do that. So at some points when people do that to me now, my mentality, and it obviously has to do with what's being said and how, in my head I am, I try my best to sort of like laugh and reach out and say, that was kind of funny. Like I do say that in some ways because, I think that what you can do, and specifically us as, guys of color, you go out there in a world where, I love white people. I have white people in my life that I love. So there's nothing, this isn't a white, black, brown thing, right? This is a thing of we are others in this country, right? We are like, for example, I will never be American enough for a lot of people in this country, right? There's nothing that I can do to be American enough because my parents were not born here. My parents are immigrants. My dad came to this country in the 70s and worked 3 jobs for close to 8 years. I think that's just as American as it gets, right? So I think when I explain that to people and I come to them and I say, dude, I mean, I know your perception is I'm not American, but I'm telling you, my dad worked his ass off and my mom did this and this is how we came to this country. And, I don't know if, quite frankly, I don't care if my dad came here legally or illegally, right? My dad's a citizen now. He worked his ass off and here we are, right? And I'm a full-blooded American. I was born here, right? So, but again, it comes back to this portion of like, you're never really going to be enough of an American. So sometimes it's instead of me going, fuck you, dude, I am an American. Sometimes it's better to go, you know what, man, let's talk. Let me talk to you about why I am an American. I don't have anything to prove to you. I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to prove to you that I'm an American, but I want to talk to you because I want you to understand that the next person you say this to may not be as nice. And second of all, people honestly, dude, have forgotten, we both come from similar areas where it's like, dude, if you say something bad, you get punched in the face. That's I still can't get away from that when I was in high school, if you said something shitty, you were going to get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? That was just something that happened, right? And now there's no more threat of physical violence anymore. I'm not saying there should be. I'm not advocating for there to be. But I think now with the social media voice, I can say whatever I want. And oh my God, this is amazing. And then you go on the internet and all you do is read stuff that just reinforces the way that you're thinking, right? Oh man, I go to this website, fuckbrowndudes.com. And they're talking about, this brown dude just did something bad here. So they're invading our country. These are some of the things that we're seeing. And man, that's super. I'm going to look up his name because what a tremendous story. I'm glad you brought that up, man.
Yeah, dude, I forgot what his name.
Let me look it up because that's an amazing story, and I want to give him some props.
Yeah, the Raptors super fan.
Real
quick, Christian says,
Nav Bhatia.
There you go. Yep. Christian Randall says, which team signs free agent Japanese?
Dude.
Yoshitomo Sugo.
Is that the second baseman or is that the other guy?
That's the outfielder.
That's the outfielder. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple guys getting posted this year by the Nippon League, so it'll be interesting because
the Yankees are in play for.
Yankees are always going to be in play.
Sugo. Yeah, that's because every time they make trades, they always get that pool money.
And on top of that, people don't realize there's a huge Asian presence in New York.
Yes.
Like a ginormous Asian presence. And by the way,
let me-
Shohei Ohtani talked about how he probably would have went to New York if it wasn't for the weather also. But he talked about Seattle, New York, and LA being by far the most accommodating to Asian players.
Has he been to Houston? Because that's why Yao Ming went to Houston.
That's true. That's true. Houston too, but also Houston hasn't crossed that line in baseball yet.
Oh, true.
You know, the big thing is baseball. Obviously you guys have Tanaka, and then Ohtani did it in LA, and then Seattle they brought in that guy
Ichiro,
and then they brought in that starter pitcher last year who was supposed to be amazing, but he wasn't that great. But he was I forgot his name, but the
they
White
had
Sox,
the great closer Kazuhiro Suzuki.
That's
for
true.
So many years.
That's true.
Yeah,
and then
dude.
and the White Sox had Tadahito Iguchi. So
Yep. I remember.
I was honestly though I was looking at both of those Nippon players. Both of them look really good. The thing about Japanese players that I'm always really worried about is culture. Not necessarily saying like they're not going to be able to adjust to American lifestyle. Just meaning the rigorous schedule in MLB is so much different than the Nippon League.
True.
The Nippon League, first of all, the travel that they do is within usually like a 200 or 300 mile radius. It's not they're not traveling a whole ton.
Right.
That's something that Ohtani and some of these other guys who have come, even Ichiro talked about how different it was when he first came in the league. That the travel is super crazy. So I always wonder about that, how they'll adjust to the league. But there's a couple good-looking guys coming out.
Let me tell a funny story.
Yes, sir.
The first time I went to New York, I had asked my dad to send me some bread because I was just trying to make sure I was straight.
Sure.
And so I was looking for a MoneyGram. It sent me to Chinatown.
Okay, yeah.
And when I went, I've been to Chinatown in Chicago.
Different animal, by the way.
Not holding
New York.
New York.
No, my God, New York. It's
Not
crazy.
even close.
It feels like you're in China.
Yes.
In New York.
Yes.
It feels like you're in China.
And that's where the story leads.
Yeah.
So I go to the guy. I was like, I was like, you guys got a MoneyGram? He's like, no, we haven't had that. And the accent was so thick. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like I'm not trying to be real bogus. I was trying so hard not to laugh because it's like I haven't heard a thick ass accent like that before.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. I live in Bolingbrook, and there's Golden Chopsticks, and yeah, they have Chinese people that work there. But I'm talking like
I actually talked about this with my
talking
buddies.
like off the boat Chinese.
Yeah. I talked about this with my buddies when we went to New York. I said New York is so specific that you really don't even have to speak English in New York. You just find your subsect of where your people went to, and that's where you go. And you could be fucking from you could be from Haiti and never speak one lick of English.
Swear
and
to
you'll
God.
have one corner of New York that's all Haitians, and you could literally have Haitian music and Haitian food, and it's so it's like Dearborn, Michigan is notoriously it's like 75% Arab people rather. And it's just like basically like this little town. It's like almost, we call it Little Palestine because it's like a little town where everyone is Arab and you can speak Arabic in the shops and there's Arabic stuff on billboards. It's crazy to see stuff like that.
Yep. So no, you're right, dude. New York is very
a melting pot, baby. Yeah.
diverse.
I love that.
Hell yeah. So if you looking for a spot where you can eat some like all the foods in one day, New York is the place to be. Because I had some it was one of them little food carts, and I had like because
halal guys.
I freaking love gyro meat.
So good.
Love
so
gyro
good.
meat.
So good.
And they were doing a special. It was like rice, the gyro meat, and like a little salad for $5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried.
That, yeah.
And I was like, hey, bro, can you throw a little extra tzatziki sauce on my merch?
Of course.
Bro, I was walking down Madison Square, around the street of Madison Square Garden, killing this place.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, this is delicious. Dude, I love gyro meat.
Yeah,
if it's not off the spit, I'm not eating it.
Yeah, those halal carts are no joke.
Man, I'm
really
talking about they
shit.
run to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and then you wake up the next day about 9 or 10, and they right back in the same spot.
Oh my God.
So much
Makes me want to go back. Nick,
you and me both.
Yeah, I want to go back so badly. Hey, there's 6 games left in here, and I think
Let's do it.
There's probably only 3 games that we want to really talk about.
Okay.
The Cardinals, I want to talk about this with you because obviously the Cardinals are in Tampa Bay this week.
Yes, first home game in like 3 months.
Crazy. You and the Raiders are both in that, in that position
dude,
right now.
Don't make that mistake no more.
Tampa Bay 4.5-point favorites. Who do you got? I don't even have to ask you.
Yeah, I like Tampa in this. They're coming home. We're facing the young rookie in Kyler Murray. I think the Bucs are gonna be happy to be back home. Mm-hmm. Arizona has played some really good football. Don't get me wrong.
They have, yeah.
But I think Tampa made some really good stride last week against Seattle. They really played them hard. The secondary did get beat, like I said, with Russell Wilson picking on Jamel Dean the entire game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Jameis is gonna have another fine day. Like I said, what's his name is starting. Ronald Jones, RJ Deuce is starting. OJ Howard is back. There's a lot of Bucs fans hoping that that they put OJ in the slot, especially with Jameis loving to throw to his slot receivers.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice little target. He'd be a huge mismatch, kind of like what Atlanta and Kansas City sort of kind of did with Tony Gonzalez a few times in his career. I put him in the slot. So
sure.
Yeah, I like Tampa in this game.
Yeah, I think things are coming together for Arizona at around this time of the year, Nick.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Arizona right now looks really good. Obviously they're really banged up at running back, but they get David Johnson back this week. So that would be a big boost for them. And I think Kyler, that game, if they didn't have such a good game against San Francisco last week, I might have probably taken you guys at home. But man, I really like the Cardinals. They are having some injury problems, just like Tampa Bay is too. But I'm going to go ahead and take Arizona in this one.
Yes, sir.
Next one, I don't think we have to talk too much about this one. We got the Colts who are 5-3. By the way, Jacoby Brissett is out this week, so it will be, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Hoyer. So, hey, by the way, for those of you who are saying Colin Kaepernick doesn't deserve a spot, Brian Hoyer's playing still, guys. So, just wondering when we're just going to admit that the league just completely blackballed this guy because we got Brian Hoyer and Matt Moore.
Colin.
Colin. Yeah. I mean, can we just talk about it for without it being awkward? But yeah, no, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts. I'm taking the
Colts as well.
10.5 point favorites on the Colts.
Who wins MVP this year, Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson? I think it's Russ. Wait. I didn't think. No, you know what? I'm not saying Lamar Jackson isn't having a fine year.
Yeah.
Dude, Russell Wilson, after his 5 TD performance last week, that is his third 5 TD performance this year.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
So it's not taking nothing away from Lamar.
No, but
dude, Russell's on a whole nother level this year.
He's on better pace for sure right now because Lamar had those 2 really slow games.
Exactly.
If Lamar can maybe come back and have a couple of 4 or 5 touchdown games like he did in the first couple of weeks, maybe. But yeah, I agree. I think Russ is a little bit. He's in the lead.
Yes.
Right now, and it's going to be hard for somebody to catch up to him.
Yep.
So I'm assuming we're going to both take the Colts at home, right?
Yes.
By the way, 10.5 point favorites are the Colts. Nick, the Panthers are 5-3, and they're going to Lambeau this week, 7-2. It's a 3:25 p.m. game. The Packers coming off of another.
Terrible loss.
The big thing with the Packers is like. They look amazing, and then next thing you know, they look like shit. It's the Eagles game and the Chargers game. Both of those games where you're expecting stuff out of the Packers, and they lose.
Yeah, dude.
4.5 point favorite to the Packers.
4.5?
4.5, yeah.
I'm taking Green Bay at home. Mm-hmm. I think they rebound from last week. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened.
Me neither.
I just think they just, I don't know if it was the Chargers. Okay, I'm not going to insult the Packers. They just look bad.
No,
the
and Melvin, they couldn't stop Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
And they, quite frankly, the offensive line didn't look great last week either for the Packers. They weren't really doing Rodgers many favors.
Right.
And then Rodgers got frustrated on a couple different 3-and-outs where they literally had the ball for 2 minutes and then they give the ball back to the Chargers and they waste 10 minutes. So,
right, exactly.
I have a hard time picking Carolina in this one.
Me too. I'm taking Green Bay.
Okay, cool. Last 3:25 game is going to be the Rams versus the Steelers. The Rams are visiting the Steelers. Rams are 5-3. The Steelers are 4-4. The Rams are 4-point favorites on the road. Brandon Cooks will be out of this game. James Conner also out of this game. Benny Snell, one of his backups, is out for this game. So very thin roster for. And Juju is hurt too, but he's going to play apparently. So
I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the Rams too. I think they'll bounce back from this one. They need it. The Rams
if
need
James
this
Conner was playing, I'd taking the Steelers because
Yeah.
the Rams still struggle against the run.
That's
but
true.
you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose Conner. Yeah, I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, Conner
With a rejuvenated Jalen Ramsey too, by the way.
Yeah,
Starting a hurt Juju Smith. Yeah.
And the Rams need it, man. The Rams need to get back into the groove of things because without it, man, they're going to be in trouble because they've got two guys in their division that might be able to beat them right now.
Big facts.
Got to figure it out. And then we talked about the Cowboys earlier. They are hosting the 6-3 Vikings. That's a pretty interesting matchup in the NFC as the 6-3 Minnesota Vikings are going to Dallas to face the 5-3 Cowboys. This might have some implications later on in the season. If we're talking about some wild card stuff. By the way, it's a Sunday night game, and the Dallas Cowboys are 3-point favorites.
Dallas at home, right?
Dallas at home, yes, sir. It's a tough one for me, honestly, because the Vikings look really good with. But by the way, no Adam Thielen this week. No Adam Thielen.
Then I'm gonna take Dallas. But let me tell you something about the Dallas Cowboys. Can they please get back to running the ball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think
First
Dak,
pass of the game, it gets intercepted.
Yeah.
Really?
The confidence, you don't have to give Dak confidence anymore. I think they used to do that to give him some confidence, right? Okay, here you go. Here's a pass to start the game so that you can gain. You don't need that anymore.
You don't.
He's a vet. He understands the game now. He can see the field really well now. You don't need to gear him up for the game anymore.
Right.
Run the ball. You got two good running backs now, dude. I really like that Pollard kid, man. I think Pollard runs hard, does well on pass downs. They don't need to rely on Zeke 30 times a game anymore.
Right.
I agree with you. I think they need to run the ball more. And also, on defense, they've got to stop shooting themselves in the foot, man. They've got to figure out ways to get off the field. I know Van Der Esch was out last week, but, they haven't done the best job on defense, and that's why they've been so up and down. But I still got them winning this one.
I'm gonna take Dallas too.
Okay, and this is the most interesting matchup of the week for me. It's the undefeated 49ers are at home and facing the Seattle Seahawks. The aforementioned Russell Wilson MVP candidate is going to go into San Francisco. One of the most intriguing matchups of the season so far. 6.5 point favorites are the 49ers. I'm surprised by that. They're almost a touchdown favorite against Seattle. Seattle's played some really tough ball.
It's that defense, bro.
Yeah. And even though a lot of people wanted to throw dirt on 49ers' name because of the Arizona game last week, but quite frankly, I see Arizona as a team that's going to surprise us the rest of the season. They're going to score some points on people. So
yeah, I think so too.
It's interesting. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and take the 49ers in this one. I think Jimmy G, he hasn't even been his best version of himself yet. That people don't realize that.
And that's the scary part.
Yeah, that's the really scary part about this team is he's not even at his best yet. The defense is just really getting in the groove of things. They haven't really been that healthy. So I like the 49ers in this one. I'll be interested to see if Josh Gordon plays in this game for Seattle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. He's in Seattle now. But, yeah, no, I agree with you on Jimmy G. We haven't seen the best. Well, we may have seen a piece of what he can do throwing 4 TDs against Arizona last week. And some of them passes looked really good. But now if the offense puts all that together with how stout the defense really is, Seattle's going to have a tough time. So I'm going to take San Francisco since that game is in San Francisco.
It's in San Francisco. And by the way, the 49ers more than likely will get back Joe Staley and more than likely get back Mike McGlinchey. So
yes,
offensive line is going to be looking really good.
Real quick, Christian wants to know, do we think if the Chiefs should be starting Patrick Mahomes against the Titans?
I don't.
It's not 100%.
I
don't either.
No.
I think Matt Moore is more the case. If this was like against the Raiders, I mean, which is not, I don't think
or
they
even
played
if
to
you
the
lost
end.
last week, but you didn't lose. You played a good game. Why?
And Matt Moore's making the passes that Mahomes would have made.
Yeah, I think that says more about the defense, though,
Yep.
right? It's like the defense, we can't trust them. We need Patrick back.
Yep. So, I don't think he should start, but Andy Reid, I don't feel if he feels like his job's on the line, that he has to rush Jesus Mahomes
But
back,
I will say, Nick, it does lead me to believe that maybe the injury wasn't as serious as we thought it was. I think maybe we judged that that injury on the way he reacted, because remember, he was like writhing in pain on the ground and was like doing this. You thought his season was over. Next thing you know, they pop it back in and he walks back on his own power. And
I just don't want Patrick Mahomes to be the next RG3.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
That's scary. I didn't want to put that bad juju on him. But,
I don't either. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you though. If it's about long-term career health, like you got to sit this guy.
Yeah,
let him at least
chill.
get. But it's only been about 2.5 weeks. So that's the other thing. It's like you haven't even given him a full month, which the recovery time I believe they were saying was anywhere between a couple of weeks to a month. So maybe just give him the full month.
Before we go, I like to go on a non-sports rant.
Yes, sir.
Just for a few minutes, because I know we've been doing the show for a while now.
What are we at right now?
We're at 3:15.
3:15, baby.
Thanks, Christian, for watching the show, bro.
Thank you, Christian. Appreciate you, man.
So I'm going on a small, off-the-cusp rant about Jewel, and I feel like I'm always clowning these guys.
Jewel Osco?
But they never cease to amaze me.
Okay.
So as everyone knows, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or whatever, I've been on the keto diet for now going on 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So today, I figured I'd go get some lunch from Jewel. I was going to get 2 pieces of grilled chicken and some steamed or boiled cauliflower, whatever it is that they're doing, right? Bro, I go to the Jewel that's by my job in Downers Grove. Not only did they not have grilled chicken in the hot bar, they didn't even have the sides out.
I know, yeah.
Why are you working if you're not going to put out the sides for the hot bar at 1:30 when the SOB isn't done until 8?
Yeah. Jewel fell off, man.
Dude, give me a flipping break. Dude, they have fallen off.
Yeah.
And it really royally pisses me off that there's not at least a... Dude, Mariano's would not have thought twice.
I was literally just about to say
putting the hot bar.
Mariano's.
There's not one close. The only other store that's close is like Fresh Time, and I don't know if they're that cool.
I don't like them either.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they're that cool.
Yeah.
So now I'm stuck eating at Jewel. Well, actually, there's 2 Jewels on Ogden. There's the one right by where I'm at by Ogden and Maine. And then there's one that's literally a mile down the street. I am almost inclined to go to that one to see if they're not as lazy as the ones that I keep going to.
Yeah, I was going to say with Jewel, it's almost like a case-by-case basis. Like that Jewel that's near the reps, it can't do that Jewel. It's just like completely. They don't even. Some Jewels are like on top of it. It's like it looks like corporate came down and said we need to get them. And then other ones are like, nah, I'll leave that one to the side. We'll be okay with them.
Man, it is absolutely unbelievable.
Jewel, get your game up.
Get your game up.
Come on.
And to the city of Downers Grove, if they can't do it, then
figure something out.
God bless, figure it out. Put a Mariano
Bring
somewhere.
Dominic's back. Fuck it.
Man, dude, another place probably would have had a hot bar with all the fixings.
Dominic's.
And not just be like, well, I guess nobody's going to come eat. Yes, I am, genius.
That's why you're open and I'm here to eat.
God bless.
Hey, guys.
And then I couldn't get chicken from the actual...
Because it's breaded?
No, because there was like 7 people in front of me.
Oh, okay.
I only have 30 minutes to eat.
Yeah,
I can only steal 5 extra minutes on my break before they start catching on. Sweet Christ, dude. Step the game up.
Step the game up.
This isn't freaking rocket science.
Just get a hot bar going and please keep it going for the remainder of the day.
Consistent. Am I asking for too much?
Right.
Am I asking for too much for flipping Jewel to make sure that the hot bar stays consistent? I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm asking for a simple request for you idiots to freaking put the hot bar.
The most basic thing, grilled chicken, is literally the most basic thing.
Yeah, so this is why I ended up doing like an idiot. I ended up getting what didn't look like breaded wings. I'm like, okay, these look like they were fried, which I can still kind of do fried foods. And it looked like just regular seasoning on it. Dude, those wings tasted like absolute crap.
Good, yeah.
No, I had 3 wings, and no matter how much ranch I try to put on them, it was not happening.
Even their breaded wings are garbage too.
Wait a minute.
I can't.
The honey ones taste like doo doo.
Those are the ones I think I'm talking about.
The honey ones are crap.
But you know what my problem with them there is their chicken doesn't taste natural or doesn't feel and taste natural.
Right.
It feels like literally they were pumping these motherfuckers with whatever Mexican steroids they can find and just throwing it on the
At the end of the day, like as much as I love Jewel chicken to an extent, they're not breading that nonsense back there. I will tell you with a straight face that the one thing that I can tell you is fresh there is the sushi, because every time I go
they
in
have
there,
to. Yeah, they have that.
The chef is always in there making fresh sushi.
I can vouch for that too.
With a straight face.
And it's crazy to say because people will never give Jewel a chance. I've done it a couple times and
it's fire.
It's pretty good. It's
fire, dude. Yeah, they're like, Jewel sushi seems like gas station sushi. You would only say that nonsense if you haven't had it.
Yeah, and plus, like I said, you said it too. I've seen literally a guy who shows up. He's separate. I don't even think he works for Jewel. I'm pretty sure he's like contracted.
They just give him a spot in the back.
They just give him a spot in the back, and in the Jewel that actually when they renovated the Jewel that's near Reps, the one I used to go to. They used to have that one right there. It literally used to be. First of all, the hot bar was right there, but also at the same time, they had customizations, all sorts of things you could do. So, you're making me hungry right now just thinking about it, man.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm starving, dude. That's the one thing about the keto, dude. Like, I can eat something and then, like, I swear to God, like 2 hours later, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for something else. What are we gonna do?
Yeah,
got me out here looking like Gordon Ramsay cooking.
All right, I like it.
All right, dude.
I like it. Hey guys, another one in the books. Thank you. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, be sure to check us out on Facebook Live every Saturday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, guys. Also check out PodRiver Media YouTube channel. Again, the website is mackandblack.com for links. Subscribe and leave us a review, especially on iTunes. Again, guys, just do us a huge favor, share out the show, keep showing us love, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Jewel, step your flipping game up before
your game up, Jewel.
Before I freaking flip out, I have to go to like some other store.
And already improve your salad bar too. Your salad bar is garbage too. You don't really have a great selection there, and it's inconsistent. You know, here's one thing about Mariano's. They have the same thing every week.
Swear to God.
Same thing every week.
And it's fire.
It's fire, and you know it's going to be there. So just, Jewel,
every single flipping day.
Jewel, if you don't want to be Dominic's, then, figure out what Mariano's is doing and start replicating. But anyways, guys, we're going to go eat. For Mac, or for me, I'm Mac. He's Black. We'll see ya. Peace.